Yo, yo, yo. What is good, y'all? This is Damage Per Second Podcast. This is DPS Podcast, episode number 104. And we are back once again on a fine Thursday night. Hope you guys have got your dinner in. Hope you guys had your beverages together, because we're going to have a pretty action-packed might be a bit much. I mean, it's not like we fighting or something. I don't know.
I don't know, man.
But it's going to be a pretty lively show, because we got a lot of topics to get through and a lot of opinions for all those topics. But shout out to everybody for coming through real quick. Let me shout out to that guy Smitty, Arcade 4247, King Ragnar. Oh, we got a Viking in the house. Def Lloyd, Spider 13, Missy Dies a Lot, Bunty, Rail Zaire, Double O, Truth Serum, Dr. Sirakis, Ramon Terrell, the the Hallmark Channel actor extraordinaire, Biggie Butters, and yeah, let me introduce my co-host, Gaming Forte, Mr. I just tweet anything and like hundreds of people follow me and retweet my stuff. Mr. Gaming Forte, what's good, bro?
I'm good, man. I listen, man. You just gotta strike when the iron is hot. You gotta know that you got something really hot of substance, and you can put it out there, and people will listen. Especially if you actually make a good point when you're doing it. So, yeah, man, it's been great, man. Working, playing games, chatting and chilling with you guys. Had fun on Brat Blast yesterday with everybody for the first time in a couple of weeks, and yeah, just enjoying this beautiful thing that we call gaming and all of the stuff that comes with it.
Big facts. Yeah, what you been playing, man?
Actually, I went back and started playing some more Code of the Lamb. Loving it. Because I never finished it. So shout out to Rodimus, with all the super chats and donos last week, because he said, I'm tired of watching Get Destiny content. Can you please play something else? So I was playing that. I went back and played some more of that. I am going through finishing up my Mass Effect playthrough, because I kind of stepped away for a minute because of just work, and that's a very, very long game. And I was like, yeah, if I'm going to get into this, I need to just sit down and just play nothing but this. So I kind of been doing that a little bit, just finishing out Mass Effect 1. And I actually did jump into the Overwatch.
Which part are you at Mass Effect 1?
I am, where am I at now? I left the Citadel. I'm still pretty early. I'm like just leaving the Citadel. So I'm like doing the whole foray of going around all these dead planets with nothing on them and trying to make this Mako do what I wanted to do and stuff. But I'm actually following the transmission, trying to find out where Salarin actually is and stuff. So that's the part that I'm at right now.
Wait, you said Salarin?
Yeah, what did I call him? Did I just
Salarin?
call him Salarin?
It's like you mixed Saren, the villain, with the race of Solarians.
I did. That's exactly what I did.
Saurian. Sauron from the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, Sauron. Yeah, that's exactly, because I had two names in my head, and ooh, yeah, you're right. That's exactly what I did.
Oh man, that's funny. I got so many games that I'm playing, newer games that I haven't beat yet. That I haven't I beat the Mass Effect Legendary Edition on PlayStation 5. I also have it. This is to show you how big of a Mass Effect fan I am. I own the game on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox, like all three platforms.
Do I own it on PlayStation? I don't own it on PlayStation. I haven't went that far.
Yeah, I only beat it on PlayStation first because I liked my my FemShuck, the character model, so much that I just kept playing through the game. But I got my Renegade Shepherd on Xbox, and I got my just like what slow-mo would do playthrough on PC.
Slow-mo would do.
Which always ends up being a mix of Renegade and Paragon. So although it's like your choices, the way the game is designed, there's some pivotal things that you can't really do because you don't have enough points in Paragon or Renegade to really allow you to like make decisions. Like for example with Rex, like you don't even have to like talk Rex down really if you have enough Paragon or Renegade points already to kind of like, you know, make those, get that additional option, dialogue option unlocked. And it gets even worse in Mass Effect 3 because there's like decisions that can be made that are like pivotal to the entire story if you have like enough points. And even in as far as Mass Effect 2, I guess it's like that for all games, because in Mass Effect 2, you gotta be careful with like doing the loyalty missions if you don't have enough Paragon or Renegade points, because you could actually lose certain characters' loyalty if you don't have the ability to kind of overpower their objections to things with your dialogue. So it's crazy like that. But like no, I'm on Mass Effect 2 on PC and Mass Effect 1 on the Xbox, but I haven't played either of them in a long time because I've just been playing so many other things. My bad. You were continuing on with the stuff you're playing. No.
Yeah, it's just been doing a lot of that. I actually did partake in Twitter video games this week, so you know that was it was actually a little fun doing that. You know, because it's been a while. You know, I always talk about don't play video games, don't play Twitter, but every once in a while you just got to have fun on Twitter. Right. And I haven't really been on there that often over the course of the last couple of months because, you know, work related stuff. And it was like, now that work is kind of settling itself down and we're getting down to the holiday stuff, it's like, I can actually take a break and do a little things. But yeah, just those couple of little games and stuff, waiting for God of War Ragnarok to finally release. We got just over a month. Actually, just over a month till that game comes out, and then the Call of Duty. I do have the itch for the Call of Duty beta. I kind of miss it a little bit, but at this point, I'm just waiting for.
You
games
definitely said you were buying the game, right?
Oh yeah, I'm buying it day one. It's a day one cop. Day one cop.
You know, like I don't know if we said it on air, but I actually have I played the beta too after Deli came on and you guys' conversation. Like, listen to you guys talk about it kind of convinced me to kind of have my own personal opinion about it. Let me just play it for myself and see what's up. So I kind of like, I mean, there's a topic here that involves Call of Duty. So I got some of my gameplay from that, and like I was looking at my gameplay earlier today, and I was like, am I really? I might end up getting it, man. I might actually.
It's something about this one. I mean, granted, I'm not going to sit here and say it's the greatest thing ever, but being a person that has not partaked in a Call of Duty game, especially in the multiplayer front, for a good 4 years, it's kind of refreshing to get back to it. I mean, granted, it's the fact that it's Modern Warfare 2. It was like by far one of the most popular ones, and they're reimagining it with a couple of different ways that they're actually going about it. So it's more the nostalgic that's actually making us want to play it. But underneath it all, Call of Duty is one of those games that I can only take in certain doses and stuff because the time to kill is this one is not as bad as other ones, but it just seems like if you haven't played a Call of Duty game consistently in a while, it's like kind of refreshing to go back to it. So that's probably the main reason why I'm enjoying it more than other people are, because, you know, there are some people out there that just literally that's one of the 2 or 3 games they play every year. And they're used to the formula. So when something does change, they notice it instantly. Whereas I'm like, I ain't played a Call of Duty game since like Black Ops 3. I kind of stopped right then and there. I mean, I went back and played games like Advanced Warfare and stuff like that, which were really, really cool. But I really didn't just kind of stick with it. So I'm really looking forward to that, especially since Hogwarts got delayed out of this year. That was the other game that I was really looking forward to that was coming out towards the end of October, beginning of November. But now it's basically just Call of Duty, play that for the 2 weeks that I have until Ragnarok drops. And then after that, it's all Ragnarok until December 4th when Callisto Protocol comes out. And then we got Dead Space, which we finally saw the actual trailer for, which comes out at the end of January. So there's at least one big game every month for the next 3 to 4 months that I'm looking forward to.
True, maybe longer than that if you really look into next year.
Yeah, like February, March I mean, you got Hogwarts coming out in February. You know, depending on like when they finally make announcement for like Starfield and Redfall, you got that stuff supposed to be coming in the first half of 2023. So it's going to be a really jam-packed 2023. And you also got for you, they got the Elden Ring DLC that's coming out early next year. So it's gonna be pretty crazy for games next year. So it all starts, like I said, October 28th for a lot of people. And depending on the type of gamer you are, you're going to be knee deep in nothing but games for the next couple of weeks, and it's always a good thing to see.
Yeah, I mean, for me, with COD, I think it's been so long since I've played it, like multiplayer wise. Like I would play the campaign with no problem. I not really bought the game. Like I remember getting Modern Warfare 2019 with my GPU. I remember getting I can't remember which other one. It may have been one of the Black Ops ones gifted to me. So I think that and I always played just the campaigns, not really the multiplayer, because it didn't really appeal to me. But I think it's been so long since I've really kind of dove into the multiplayer that it's stale for other people or just typical COD for other people. But for me, it's like it's actually kind of fresh or refreshing a little bit. And it won't be my main multiplayer game because, as you see, Rogue Company is still going to be Rogue Company for me. And I've been playing Shatterline. I've been getting we're going to talk about Overwatch a little bit later. I've been playing a little bit of that, kind of going down memory lane with that one. So there's so many. Fortnite, of course, zero build mode is in the rotation as a mainstay. So for me, it's not going to be.
What single player games do you have in your rotation right now? Because it's pretty much all been multiplayer for you as of late.
Oh boy. All right. Well, I actually reinstalled Cyberpunk, and specifically to do one thing. So I watched Edge Runners, right? The Netflix TV show.
You and the rest of the whole world,
right? So I'm telling you, that's such a perfect marriage of mediums. You have a video game, it's already out, you already exhaust all your retail sales from that, then you go get a Netflix TV show and everyone's trying it at this point. I can go down the list of like there's a Amazon's doing the Mass Effect one, Netflix is doing the Dragon Age one, so EA is in it on it too. Sony's trying to do this as well, even to the point of remastering games. We're going to talk about that later too, to kind of like have something to coincide with the TV show medium to bring in new fans. But regardless, there's a particular mod or a install of like cyberware that you can get in Cyberpunk that I never even realized was possible, because I was just trying to get the game working when I played it at launch and beat it at launch. So I was just really concerned with the game working. But it's called the whatever it's called. Look, man, I can't remember the name of it, right? But it begins with an S and it's like a Sandy Vestin or whatever it's called, but essentially it's like slow down, blink kind of like abilities that like everyone else is moving in slow motion, but you're moving faster than everyone else. And I saw like some gameplay of it, and I was like, "Oh, that looks cool. I wish I would have had that when I played the game." And then later on, I'm watching the TV show, and I'm like, "Bro, like it's really, the TV show is not completely based around that, but there's like this kid named David Gonzalez, and he gets an upgrade, a military upgrade of this ability, and he turns out to be one of those people that's just very adept at taking upgrades and not going cyber psycho. And so he's just blinking and teleporting all over the place throughout the entire show, and I'm just like, I kind of want to just reinstall Cyberpunk and do that specifically, because like I had a second playthrough that I started with a female V, the protagonist, and I never completed it. So I said, you know what, let me go ahead and finish that. And then, but I definitely, my goal is just to get to that ability so I could just be in the combat, because like, I've always found the combat to be mediocre, but that looks cool. So I would definitely love doing that in the combat throughout the entire game. But there's that. I'm playing through I got Diafield Chronicles installed. I haven't started it yet because I know once I start it, I might drop damn near everything. So I just know how I am with those kind of games. So that's installed. There's a game called Immortality that I'm still playing. I've talked about it, before on the show. I'm frustrated because I figured out. So okay, let me ask you this, Forte. When do you consider? Okay, I have unlocked the story. This is a kind of game that's like Immortality is not like a typical you play the game, then you get to the end, then you beat the game and the credits roll. It's just not like that. So it's like I'm trying to. I feel like I beat it, but I haven't unlocked everything. I haven't seen all of the pictures. I haven't unlocked all the secret videos and everything. So I don't know. Like I haven't quite got there yet. But I'm playing that. It's a lot. It's a lot I'm playing right now. I'm playing games with friends. I haven't played Grounded with my friends in a while. They're a little upset at me, I think.
Speaking of Grounded, Rodimus said he got a hot 50 for you, man.
Oh, hold up. Wait a minute. East Texas Alex just dropped a code in the chat. I don't know what it is.
Uh-oh.
But somebody, y'all better rush and get it. That looks like an Xbox.
It is definitely an Xbox code.
So y'all, look. Hey, anyone who gets that, let's be respectful. Like somebody drops a code and you get it, jump in the chat and say thank you to East Texas Alex. He didn't have to do that, So, Alex, if they don't say thank you, bro. Appreciate that. I love to see people being giving in this time of year. It's pretty awesome.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, like I'm playing single player games. I just gotta get them done, and plus, of course, before this month is up, I'm gonna play and finish God of War on PC. So I got it all refreshed in my mind, and I'm all set to go for Ragnarok in November. But yeah. I've been playing too many games, man. I gotta start cutting some of them down. I might have to start cutting some of these multiplayer games down too, man. Because
it was a $20 card. That's what it was.
How you know?
I put it in. I actually could have redeemed it, but I didn't. It's a $20 code though, so whoever gets it, good luck.
Mishi Dies a lot says, but Slow-Mo, are you a completionist? I'm not a completionist. I am not. Like, the only time that I ever really platinum something or I become like 100% on Xbox, achievements is when I'm just naturally close. Like, I look up and I'm like, oh, I only need 2 achievements, 2 trophies to get the platinum, then I'll be like, all right, what do I have to do? Let me go look at what I need to do to get this done, and I'll get it done then. But otherwise, I just want to play the game, beat the game, and move on. So
Shout out to Arcade 4247. Thank you, sir. East Texas Alice. Guess I don't have to pay $70 for Gotham Knights.
Oh, Arcade. You should use that $20 on something much better than Gotham Knights. Okay. Okay. Don't waste that gift card on Gotham Knights. That game ain't worth $70. It ain't worth the $50 it's going to end up being after the gift card. Don't do that to yourself.
I take it you're not getting that game, Slow-Mo.
I'm good. If I ever get it, it's going to be if I ever play it, it's going to be because it showed up in PS Plus Extra
or
Game Pass or whatever, or somebody's
gonna go to the min-maxing build and say, Slow-Mo, play Gotham Knights.
Oh my God, please don't do that. Matter of fact, I need to raise that to like $70 or something. Like, it needs to go up to like $100.
What do you actually have that tier at? Oh, you got it at $20.
Shut up, man. Why are you?
Oh man, that's a good deal right there. Maybe I'll subscribe to that tier right quick.
I've already got to play Scorn, man. I'm not trying to play. Who
did that to you, Cat Daddy?
Yeah.
Shout out to Cat Daddy Lurk.
Jerk Daddy Lurk over there did it.
Cat Daddy's like, man, I can. He said I can make you pay. All it is a Fortnite skin. That's all he basically put down.
Basically.
He said he excited for Scorn, baby. And I'm trying to tell you, Rodimus said he got that hot 50 for you. All you do is put some grounded gameplay up there.
We can move on. So because we got a lot of topics to get through. As you see, it's like, what is it, 7? I can't.
Yeah, it's a lot of them.
It's a 7 topics. So let's get
Some
to the
are gonna last longer than others.
Yeah, true. First one up though is Overwatch 2 launching this week to a lot of problems.
Busted.
The issues this game has. Good freaking grief. Real quick before we continue, wanted to say shout out to Big Mike, who's been a member of the DPS class, a member of the channel for 4 months. Says, can Slow-Mo play and complete a scary game for me? Big Mike, no, I can't do that for you. I don't know what to tell you, bro. Like I can't, yeah, it's not happening. So Overwatch 2 launched Tuesday.
Yes,
Tuesday. And I used to play Overwatch real heavy back in like when it first came out. What was that? 2015, 2016. Shout out to oh boy, shout out to Cat Daddy Lurk for 4 months. DPS classes, do it. And I don't know what you mean do it. So we just gonna move on. No, so Overwatch. I played it heavy when it first came out. I can't remember. It was somewhere in the mid of last decade where it launched. And it had a big following. Blizzard. Blizzard usually gets a big following. Probably the best hero shooter there is, if you really think about it. They're not very popular anymore, and I don't even think a lot of Overwatch fans play the game as much as they used to. But man, I jumped back into it as much as I could. And I don't want to say my thoughts right away. I know you said that you played it too, right? So like, what were your? Two questions. Have you played Overwatch before this? And if you have,
how early before this are you talking?
Like, I mean, at all. Like, have you ever played Overwatch before?
I used to play Overwatch religiously, like when it first came out. I played it all the way through. I want to say, when probably 2018 is when I stopped playing it consistently. I would jump in every once in a while when they had like certain events, like they were doing like the Olympics and stuff like that. I would jump in. But outside of that, I kind of fell off the wagon when it came to that. But I put quite a bit of time into that game when it first came out.
Yeah, when it first came out, I was playing like a lot of my shout out to my division crew. We jumped on that for probably like at least 8 months, almost a year, like consistently, like every day playing it. So like I got pretty familiar with a lot of characters. Even started playing around with ranked, and it, you know, I was playing on Xbox, but stopped playing for you know, many years and got back into it this weekend. Let's talk about the first big issue. So, and it's not their fault. This part's not their fault. They got DDoS attacked, and it's probably due to a multitude of reasons. Who knows why someone decided or some group decided to do this to them? But yeah, they got DDoS attacked, and it made it very difficult for people to get on the game. And it's still difficult for people to get on the game. I know Death Singer, shout out to him, who's our panel member on Scumcast, sent me a message saying that they fixed it. But when I tried to get on before the podcast, I was still in a queue with 2,000 people, which is a lot less than what it was. Some of these queues were up to like 50,000 people are ahead of you trying to get in. You know, like it was ridiculous. And so that was a problem. The other problem is just, and I think this is probably the root of the issues of why some people would want to DDoS the launch of the game. The decisions that Blizzard made with Overwatch, like this should not even be called Overwatch 2. Let me just keep it a buck. This is someone who, like, it's fun gameplay. I'm having a good time. You're looking at my gameplay here. I had a good time playing the game. And it took me back to playing the game, remembering how to use certain characters and going through all that. But the big issue is that from the time that I stopped playing the game to now, with this quote unquote Overwatch 2, a sequel, I still played on maps that primarily were maps I was already familiar with. The majority of the maps I played on were maps that I had played on before, back like 3 years ago. So in 3 years, you're a live service game, and in 3 years, you still haven't come out with more maps than what you had back in like 2018. The characters were all very familiar, very like minute changes here and there. I would notice, like, I'll play a character and like their abilities have changed just a little bit, but not too much. And it's just like, I mean, like it was like riding a bike. I played my first match. I got Tracer, and I'm dominating. It's just like it shouldn't. Tracer is supposed to be not an easy to use character. Like, I wasn't supposed to just be able to just jump in a match and immediately be unkillable. Like, what? It's really, like, I know some people are saying 1.5, but yeah, it's Overwatch 1.5. What are your feelings on it?
I think it's really, really cool. I mean, like you said, until you can actually get into the game, it was like, okay, it was fun when it lasted, but I think the balancing is actually really spot on. I like the fact that you can only have the one tank in matches now. I like the 5v5. I feel like
you can have more. You can have more.
You can have more than one tank now? They changed it?
Well, look, there's two different queues that you can.
Yeah, I didn't play the other queue. What's the other queue?
Okay,
I played the one where you can only have one tank in it.
Okay, so I'm just doing quick play. Quick play on
I was
social
doing arena
stuff. I didn't do arena. So like arena, yeah, there's definitely that.
That's all I play is arena. Like I quick play is for. Well, I'm not gonna say that.
Go ahead and say it. Go ahead and say it.
Quick play is where you learn to play the game, I should say. But I tend to get the best experience out of arena, because the one thing about Overwatch is I hate playing when people are like trying to test builds out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not really ever trying to test a build out in Over. I kind of stick with 2 or 3 characters. I every once in a while, when they'll come out with a new character, I'll switch it up just to see what it's like.
Mm-hmm.
But I usually do it in arena because I know if I'm doing that, people will cover it for my deficiencies that I have in the game. So
Oh yeah, so it kind of forces people to use have a correct team orientation.
exactly,
That's
yeah.
a big thing, and one of the very first things I noticed immediately as a problem in this match right here. So in this match, we're gonna win the first round, and we won the first round because I was a tank. We had 3 DPS and we had a healer. After that, our healer decided, I don't know, I guess he didn't want to be supporting them. Well, I can't stand when people do this. Like, I have no problem playing a healer. Like, I think in the
He decided,
majority
"I
of the
don't wanna do it no
matches,
more."
if you look at my statistics right now in Overwatch 2, the majority of my matches I've been support. Now, I don't have a problem being a healer or being support, but I don't want to do it all the time. But it seems like almost seems like if I don't play support, no one else will. And that's
Nobody else.
frustrating because it's like if you don't have that team composition, then like I'm DPS trying to kill a guy and he's got Mercy behind him behind a wall, like it's just like I'm trying to kill Mercy. Meanwhile, I don't have a healer backing me up and keeping me upright. It's just that's the way the game is designed. You a team that is if you have equal skill, right? A team of equal skill, the one that has the better team composition will win. If you got 5 DPS people, you're going to get washed. If you got but to a team that has balance of like a tank, 2 DPS, 2 healers, you're getting washed, right? So it's like those little things that immediately after I did all my matches. By the way, here's another issue. I don't have the migration thing wasn't working. So I didn't have all my characters unlocked. I didn't have all the skins for the characters that I had on Overwatch 1, and that's frustrating. If you play Overwatch 1 and you didn't spend money on loot boxes and you got all these cosmetics and emotes and stuff unlocked, you get into Overwatch 2, they took Overwatch 1 away from you.
Yep.
And you get into Overwatch 2 and none of that stuff is there anymore. That pisses you off, right? I even looked at the cosmetics, the skins, and I'm looking at skins that say you need to own Overwatch Origin Edition to have this skin. And I'm like, I do own that. It's like, but it's still not unlocked. Shout out to Bunty for re-upping as a 10% for 4 months. Thank you, sir. Your support of the channel is much appreciated, man. That Forte, that's frustrating as all hell. It's just this stuff isn't there. Why isn't this stuff there? Forte with the 5 months membership. Callisto will be my gift to the 10%ers for you to play. That's DPS class, right?
I know.
But that's not the min-max class.
I said just wait until Callisto don't
Oh
come
my
out to
god!
December.
Hey, you know what? It's gonna be like $1,000 at that point. I'm gonna make it $500. You're gonna make it well worth my while. It could be.
You better hurry up and change it beforehand. I'm just giving.
Y'all about to be buying my new streaming PC is what y'all.
Just saying, man, you better make that change quick because I'm just telling you, if it's still when December roll around and Callisto comes out, it's gonna be a $20 gonna come up on there. You're gonna be like, what happened?
Anyway, look, let's Overwatch. Okay, so there's those issues that people are not happy about. There is the game to me doesn't play as well as Overwatch 1 did, and here's why. Hit detection. What the heck is going? I'm shooting people, and it's like my bullets is going through them. Like, what's happening? I don't understand. Like, what's happening there? It's weird. It's probably always been like this. I've never this is my first time really playing it on PC. Like I said, I played it on Xbox and I played it on PlayStation. But it seems like to me, mouse and keyboard is the way to go in this game. maybe that's always been the case. I don't know, but like as of right now, like the people I played with who are playing mouse and keyboard, no problems whatsoever. But I mean, look, I'm not getting bodied or anything. I'm actually, playing pretty well in it. When I can get in it. but
when I could get in there.
but it's just, I mean, not the best launch whatsoever, and clearly Blizzard still doesn't, yeah, another game with a terrible launch with Blizzard. I've been running my mouth. Forte, what are your thoughts, man?
I mean, I said the same thing. I agree. I just think in general it just comes down to there's always something going on, especially when it comes to that. But I mean, I think the biggest thing is, are you excited to get back into the game, or are you pretty much just like, it's just nothing else to do right now, so that's why I'm doing it?
It's me. Well, when they first announced Overwatch 2, I said I'll give it a shot when it comes back out. After that, and I forgot the game's coming out just because it's just like it's been almost it was like no information whatsoever that out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. Hey, here's a release date, like at the Xbox E3. Was that Xbox E3? I think it was.
I can't remember exactly what it was.
Or it may have been. I don't think they had a BlizzCon.
They didn't have a BlizzCon this year.
Okay, yeah, but it had to have been Xbox E3, I think. But like I said, I like the game. I like the gunplay. Like, I'm not gunplay because it doesn't really have gunplay. Gameplay. I like the gameplay. It's the best hero shooter there is. But I don't know. I mean, like, this is definitely gonna be one of those games I'm probably not gonna play like a lot. Like, I looked at the battle pass, and the battle pass looked very uninspiring to me. Like, there wasn't much in there that I was like, ooh, I can't wait to get the level 38 to get that. Like, nah, it was like nothing. So I don't know, man. Like, I'm playing it now because I know I got people I know that are playing it heavy.
It's really good if you have people to play it with. If you got people that you consistently play it with, you will always enjoy Overwatch. Overwatch is what, and then it's like the games are like perfectly kind of set up for length and stuff. So it's like you're either going to destroy the other team, or even if you don't destroy the other team or they destroy you, the games go pretty fast. The rounds go pretty fast. One little thing could turn a game on its head. That's the thing I always enjoyed about Overwatch the most. It really comes down to the synergy of the team and stuff. And if people aren't doing what they're supposed to do and covering for other people's back, the game can end really quick. Or you can actually play hero ball kind of in this game too. That's another thing that I think is missing from a lot of the other arena type games and stuff like that. But just seeing that it's actually alive and well, and that people are actually trying to play the game. I remember when you tweeted that I'm gonna get into this game finally on Thursday because it was a 50,000 man queue. Yeah. I was like, yo, 50,000 people trying to play Overwatch right now. Yeah. Which is comical because we know when Overwatch was in its heyday, 50,000 was nothing. It was like millions of people playing that game at a time.
Right.
So hopefully, with all of these changes, and once everybody gets used to the new model with it being a free-to-play game and everything, and I do think once Xbox gets a chance to really, really promote it outside of what Blizzard and what Blizzard's already doing with it, I think there's going to be some things when it comes to Game Pass, extra skins for being a part of that and stuff, and I think that would get people in there. I think some people are just taking a wait and see approach because, let's be for real, when people hear about all these bugs and stuff being in the game and stuff, and that's fine, but it's kind of put a damper kind of on a launch of a game when it first comes out. Right. So hopefully this whole DDoS thing finally does get it gets resolved and people can just get back to playing the game. And I think honestly, Overwatch has always been a great game. It just comes down to the balancing to make sure that they got that stuff as tight as it needs to be.
Agreed. We can move on now. I mean, I would say overall, Overwatch 2 is pretty underwhelming. But like apparently they're supposed to be getting the PvE content that they claim they were going to do a sequel for in the first place in January, which to me also made like the launch of it now in October make no sense to me. I'm just like, just launch the game in January then. Like it's not. This is more of a big content update expansion for a live service game than a sequel. You got 3 new characters and like 2 or 3 new maps. What is that? Like that's a new season for other live service games. You know, that's not a sequel. So like frankly, they should have just waited for the PvE content. But
right.
You know, it is what it is. All right, so yeah, moving on. Want to talk about Intel. Yeah, hey, I know PC talk. Here we go. Right. So Intel has 2 new GPUs that are coming out now. They are the A770 and the A750. Intel has not been in the GPU graphics card market in PC in a very long time, but they are getting back into it now, mostly because they see a gap there where there is a clear opportunity for them to have a mid-level or mid-powered GPU that actually could, you know, sell pretty well, because there's a hole there in the market. AMD and Nvidia have been chasing the high end for so long, and the prices keep going further and further up. Forte, what are you doing? Oh, I am not even going to address
it. Shout out to the one and only Damage Per Second podcast.
That is not even a super chat or anything. We are not.
Shout out to Damage Per Second podcast. You know, at Slow Mo, Scoring in October, Callisto Protocol in December, Dead Space remake in January. Going to be a great few months.
Not for me. But no, Intel GPU, which surprisingly, here's okay. I'll give you all the details to it, and then we can kind of discuss, you know, like where we think it actually fits and whether Intel might actually have a future in the GPU market. So, as usual, the drivers are trash. The drivers are awful. Like, there's really, really bad drivers, but surprisingly, it has its own super sampling software called XeSS, which is apparently pretty good. It's not on par with AMD Super Resolution or DLSS, but it's decent. It has better ray tracing than AMD's RDNA 2.
Yeah.
Which that shocked me, that ray tracing is on par, and with the ray tracing for, and I think the price is like it's $330 for their A770. The ray tracing on that is on par with AMD, was better than AMD's offering, and on par with Nvidia's offering at that same price point, the 3060. So that's pretty. That's pretty cool. That's pretty wild.
It's not real ray tracing though at 3060.
It's look.
That's not real ray
tracing.
Look,
hold on now. Hold on.
Slow-mo, let me ask you a question.
No, wait.
No, I'm just gonna ask you one simple question before you answer that question.
Right.
Ask you one simple question.
Here we go.
If you wanted to turn on ray tracing on a game, are you turning it on a 3060? Are you even purchasing a 3060?
I'm not owning a 3060.
No.
If I own the 3060, it's because it's on the streaming PC.
Listen, if you wanted to do ray tracing, would you even settle for a 3060?
No, but look, I am not the target demographic PC gamer. For.
Is it no slow?
Hold on, no, wait. There is a consumer. There is a PC consumer who is super cheap, who is still out there on a 970 or a 1060, who is like has a budget PC, and he might want to actually play games with ray tracing with a card that's cheaper.
At what frame rate?
Now, hey,
At
look,
what frame rate?
at least 60. At least
60.
Look. First of all,
oh my god.
First of all,
I can't believe I'm talking to a person that just literally bought a 3080 Ti.
Why you gotta bring that up? I was gonna bring it up later. Yes, I just bought a 3080 Ti Founders Edition. Okay, and
I can't believe I'm listening.
And I did it because I refused to get the 4000 series. I definitely wasn't going to get that fake 4080 that's actually a 4070. And I don't think it's necessary. I don't think the 4000 series cards are necessary. I got this GPU I got is going to be 12 gigs of VRAM. I think the 3080 Ti is going to be the new 1080 Ti. Where people who have the 1080 Ti, they still got it.
Listen, man,
and they just like, I don't need the upgrade, you know.
Oh, listen.
Anyway,
I'm with you.
No, you're not with me.
No, you're right. I'm not with you because I am not. Listen, Cat Daddy just said it best. He's like, LOL, laughing out loud, beautiful lighting with potato texture.
That is not true. Y'all are so mean. Yeah, y'all some real bougie PC gamers in here. We got some real bougie PC gamers in here, okay?
36 slow-mo. I wouldn't even do. Listen, I can barely do. I can do ray tracing at 3070.
Wait. You can play games at 1440p with a 3060. Okay, I play games primarily at 1440p. Not with ray tracing. I mean,
not with ray tracing.
Hey, look, hold on. Cyberpunk 2077. Do you know how many people were playing that with a 3080 at 1080p?
I do. A lot of them.
With ray tracing on.
But yeah, it's still a 3080. What does that got to do with a 3060? You ain't saying 36. You ain't saying 3060.
This is not. Why are you comparing these cards that were designed to compete with the 3060s, a 3060 Ti, the RX 6600 XT. This card wasn't designed to compete with a 3080 or a 4090 or a 3090 Ti. It wasn't designed to compete with that. So why are you comparing it to?
This is what the people come to DPS for, because this is where we just vehemently disagree with each other right now. Listen, man. They also made a RTX 20 series that they tried to slam down our throat and say, oh, ray tracing's here. And literally none of those cards outside of the 2080 Ti gave you a decent amount of ray tracing. And you try to tell me that a 3060, one of the lower tier cards of the 3000 series, is going to give you noticeable differences in ray tracing?
A 3060 has better ray tracing. It's a better ray tracing implementation than the 2000.
Than the 2080 Ti. It does.
Even the 2080 Ti, exactly.
You know what? But it doesn't have the power that a 2080 Ti.
It also has better. It doesn't have more cuticle. It might have.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't have that.
But it
doesn't have more VRAM either.
It doesn't have more VRAM, but it's a more efficient card.
It's definitely a more efficient card, but listen,
but that's not the point.
A 2080 Ti was brute forcing. It was brute forcing ray tracing, and it even wasn't doing a good enough job.
Look,
this 3060 ain't brute forcing anything.
I'm not talking about. We keep talking about the 3060. This is not about 3060.
You said
that's what Intel. And it's on par with a 3060.
Oh, you said it's on par with a 3060.
It's on par with a 3060. It's slightly worse
thing
than the 3070. Just because it's good, it's really good. You look at the reviews, it's really good at ray tracing. It is. It just is. It's good at ray tracing.
Okay. Ain't nobody buying these cars to play ray tracing.
They're not, but it's there.
Exactly. Okay, thank you for saying. Okay, that's all I wanted you to say. That's all I wanted you to say is that. Look at Clifton said, I wouldn't piss on a 3060.
Y'all some bougie PC gamers, man. Yeah, I mean, look, a 36. Look, I would put a 3060 in my streaming PC. Absolutely. Right. because I'm not gonna play games with it, but I would still have it in my streaming PC for content creation, that kind of stuff. It has a use.
Mm-hmm. It has a use. I will give you that.
Cat said, "What are you doing with that 3070? I can build. Man, I'm about to sell that thing on eBay, Cat. I'm gonna need.
He need to recoup his funds.
I need to offset some of that 3080 Ti cost. Anyway, look.
I need a picture of that beautiful card on Twitter when you finally get it.
Brace
That's
a streaming PC slow mo. Yeah, I don't have multiple rigs yet. I'm gonna build a streaming PC, but I'll throw a 3060 in there. Look. Yeah, so
right. You would
bougie.
throw it.
Y'all are some
you hear what you just said? You heard
PC
what you just said?
What?
You said you would throw a 3060 in a streaming PC, but guess what you won't do? Play it, use ray tracing on a 3060. You absolutely right, Slow-Mo. You would throw it in a streaming PC.
I have said multiple times already that these cards are not for me. I am not the target demographic.
They ain't for anybody that wants real ray tracing.
Do you, Forte?
They not.
Have you ever looked at the Steam charts, the Steam statistics? What's the most common GPU?
It was a 1060. What is it, a 2060 now?
It's like a 2060. It's always the bottom card of a generation.
And guess what? Those people with 2060s ain't doing ray tracing, or at least they ain't doing it.
Trying.
They trying and failing and realizing that they realizing like, why is my frame rate so terrible?
Hey, look, wait, DLSS 2.0 is pretty good. This is also part of the reason why I said I don't need the 4000 series cards. Put one, and this is a little bit of a tangent. I don't quite believe NVIDIA with DLSS 3. I kind of feel like DLSS 3 is reminding me of DLSS 1.0. Whereas they was like, oh, it's perfect. It's gonna give you all these extra frames, but it made everything look like had Vaseline all over your screen. It was just a big blur. It was ugly. It was terrible.
Vaseline.
And I don't like, maybe in single player games it won't be so bad because it's things are a bit more scripted in games. But I can't see myself playing a multiplayer game where you're telling me DLSS 3 is going to be adding frames, predictively adding frames to the game, when I'm already playing, like when some games have janky netcode to begin with, server issues, we got decent issues with Halo Infinite. I don't want you adding frames in a multiplayer game. Got me thinking I'm killing somebody and I'm shooting at the wall or something. Nah, fam. And now maybe I'm completely wrong and no one has tested it yet, so we don't know for certain. We'll find out next week because 4090 comes out next Wednesday and we're going to start seeing the reviews like this weekend. So we'll find out soon from these reviewers like Tom's Hardware, Paul's Hardware. Is Paul's Hardware? Is that his YouTube channel?
Paul Hardware.
Gamer Nexus, J2 Cents,
Hardware
Unbox. Hardware Unbox is my favorite. But like we'll find out.
Hardware Canucks.
They're good too. I like them too. But we'll find out for all of them who already have the 4090 and are testing it now how DLS 3 really is. But I'm not like
you know what?
You can keep that DLSS 3. I'll wait for DLSS 4. You know what I'm saying? Like I also don't like how they intentionally built another version of DLSS and once again cut off a group of people. Clifton says he got to update his old 9900K. Man, I'm on a 9700K, bro. So I'm with you there.
I was on the 8700K until I upgraded.
Right. But
one of the best CPUs ever.
I already know the answer to this. Forte, are you getting an Intel Arc GPU?
Well, I got a 3070 Ti. Why do I need that?
Right.
Listen, man. But be for real though. I will.
You could get it as a backup. You told me I should have had a backup GPU.
You should. No, I'm not getting this. No, because you know what my backup is going to be. My backup is going to be a 3070 Ti when I upgrade to that 3090 when it drops in price a little bit more.
Hey,
Actually, it's
look.
pretty cheap right now.
I'm
not like
I'm gonna
Clifton.
explain why I pulled the trigger on the 3080 Ti right now.
That's a question. Why didn't you do the 3090? Because it's not that big of a difference in price.
I don't like wasted.
What?
Okay, hold on. Let me explain.
Yeah, please. Yeah, I'm gonna need you to fix
You,
this.
I ain't even finished the sentence. You already like what?
Because you was about to bury yourself and then you caught yourself. Okay, you go ahead.
What did you think I was about to say?
I thought you were about to say something like, I don't like having wasted performance. Like, what do you mean? That's all we do. It's called future-proofing yourself.
I was about to say that.
I know you were. You're like, what do you mean?
Look, if it got 24 gigs of VRAM, I don't need all my motherboard. My motherboard won't do more than 16. That's 8 gigs of VRAM wasted.
But you literally just talked
about
no.
Wait, hold up.
But that's what you said. You
no. Wait, hold on.
Your whole reason getting a 3080 Ti was because you wanted more VRAM.
Can I say what I'm saying?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's wasted because by the time I build a new PC with a newer motherboard that can take advantage of all that VRAM, I won't want a 3090 anymore. I'm gonna be wanting something else. So it's good. So I'm never going to use that 24 gigs of VRAM.
Dude, you don't. What do you?
Also, look at benchmarks.
Okay, yes.
Look at benchmark comparisons of the 3080 Ti to the 3090.
It's just more VRAM.
It's almost no difference.
No, there is a difference.
No, not in performance.
Listen. There is no.
Thank you, Cat. 3090 damn near requires a new build. I'm not building a new PC right now.
No, I agree with that. But this is the thing, though. If I had to start from scratch on a build and upgrade a piece of I'd rather my GPU be so future-proof to the point where, yes, nothing is really taking advantage of that 24 gigs of VRAM. You are absolutely right. But at some point, you will get to a point where it is. And also, the only reason you're saying is...
Forte, hold on.
The only reason you're saying is because you're not... First of all, if you were making videos like you need to be making videos for the last 6 months, you would actually use that 24 gigs of VRAM.
I don't even need this 3070 to make videos like that. I can have a 2070 and still have enough of a GPU to make videos.
But don't you like your videos rendering faster?
On your current motherboard right now, what's the in your top PCI slot, what's the max VRAM you can get out of that in your current one right now?
Oh, I can get 24 out of mine.
So of course, if I had your motherboard, I would have bought a 3090.
Well, I just upgraded to like in December.
Actually, 3090 Ti was like, what is that, $900 off on Best Buy, so it's like $1,100. I would have bought that if I had your motherboard.
But you don't need to have my motherboard. It's called.
You don't need your motherboard.
No, you're right. I paid $400 for a motherboard that it actually was like.
If I spent $400 on a motherboard, you're daggone right. I'm getting the very best GPU I can get.
You know what? I just like. I don't know. It's like my price and performance thing is like when you get a 5950X.
Oh yeah.
And $700.
Hold on.
Motherboard is definitely going to cost at least half of the GPU.
Thank
CPU.
you, Clifton. Forte, what PSU you got in that?
What do I have in there now?
Yeah.
Oh, I got what I got in there? 850.
Okay. All right. You just barely good enough.
Oh no. But see, if I had a 750, like I had a 750, I would have upgraded that too. My next goal before I do the 3090 is to go to a 1200 watt.
Hey, look. This is
I want a 1200 watt.
I'm saying if you had my PC, you probably will understand where I'm coming from. If I had your PC, I would get a 3090 Ti because then I'm getting the most out of it. But it's wasted in my build, and so why waste money on something that when by the time I decide to build, like I feel like okay, this PC is now old enough where I'm not maxing out games anymore, because the reason why I got the 3080 Ti because I want to max out games. And yes, the 850 EVGA is the GOAT PSU. That's the one I got. Now,
Shout out to Razar. He said that EVGA 8850 is the GOAT. You absolutely right, sir.
I literally just said that, Forte. I literally just said that, Forte.
That's literally the one I got.
That's the one I got. Anyway, so this 3080 Ti, with my build, I'm maxing out every game I'm playing for like the next year or two. At least, right? And with a Best Buy warranty, if I got a problem, which will just so happen to happen 23 months from now, oh no, my GPU don't work no more. Best Buy, here you go. What, $900 credit to go get another GPU? Why, thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna go do that. So like, then at that point, maybe I build a whole new PC. Because then at that point, like, I'm not maxing out the games anymore, right? But like, this is all I'm saying. I don't need it, man. We ain't gone down a massive rabbit hole.
Listen, man. I am a huge component of all things that you put in your PC. Your GPU, you buy the best GPU you can afford. If you can afford it, put it in your PC, because guess what? That GPU will scale with your PC.
It's like having a motherboard that can only do 8 gigs of VRAM in the PCI slot, and then you decide to put some monster in there. It's like, what are you doing, man? I got a PCIe 3.0 motherboard, bro. I got a Z390E motherboard. What do I need a 3090 Ti for? 3080 Ti, 12 gigs of VRAM. All I need right now. 10 gigs of VRAM will max out every VRAM for every game you play right now. So I even got some overhead. Shout out to Erodimus with the $2 super chat. Says time. Okay, we're gonna move on.
Just to answer Razar's question, he said what motherboard I got. I do have a Asus ROG. I have the Dark Hero board. 450. That thing was a beast, and I still don't use all of the features on that. I like the power delivery on that board though. You get really insane power delivery to all of your rails with it.
Shout out to Cats. $2 super chat says keep it going. Hey, we're gonna get back to, well, this next topic is going to be somewhat of a PC topic anyway, Cat. So you're gonna get some more PC talk in this one. So look. CD Projekt Red has come out with an announcement that they are working on a game. They got codename Orion, and that game is the next Cyberpunk game. So they're actually going to continue on with Cyberpunk, doing a sequel. It's this game also. They announced this a few months ago, actually, that the Cyberpunk game they're working on is going to be on Unreal Engine 5. So they are completely throwing that Red engine in the trash. Now, the Red, as you see, this gameplay that I'm showing of Cyberpunk, Red engine's beautiful. It's got great visuals, great ray tracing implementation. The ray tracing in Cyberpunk is so good. It's almost transformative to like the way character models look, the way the world is. I have it off right now because I actually want to play the game, and I guess I could have kept it on and put DLSS 2.0 on, but I didn't want to play at 60 FPS. If you guys can't see my frame rate counter in the top, but I'm playing it at 85 to 100 frames per second, so that's much more preferable to me. I'm always going to choose my frames over visuals and ray tracing.
You should.
Shout out to DJ Oros, $5 super chat. He says, "Let's get nautical. Slow-mo is a warlock with Lunas in Divinity." I have no idea what that means. That's a Destiny reference.
Listen, man. The one thing Slow-mo definitely is a whale. We will definitely go along with that one.
What is? Can you want to explain? I get the warlock. I am a warlock on Destiny when I do decide to play it. But what is the? I know the whale is the whole.
Is the
thing on the ground that you drop. What's Lunas and
Is
Divinity?
Luna faction boots, where you give your team bonuses and reload speed and more range on their weapons. And Divinity is the you're the team player, basically, is what he's saying. You're the team player. You don't really do too much damage, but you're the reason that everybody else does all the damage they do. That's what the well lock does. He said you're pretty amazing. That's what he's giving you a compliment.
Oh, okay. All right then. You know, I actually did play that role in the last raid I did. I don't know.
But Slow-Mo's never going to have Slow-Mo will never have a divinity because he won't sit still long enough.
I'm not grinding to get no daggone weapons.
You don't even have to grind to get that. You just have to literally do a raid and do some things in the raid to get it, and you can have it in 15 minutes.
I'm good.
But you're not gonna do that much. So
no, I'm not. Also, Pan Am is on the screen. Shout out to Pan Am from
shout out to Cat Daddy. He knew exactly. He said this is a support bill. He said you're a support player, man. You're great.
I am not a support player. You know what? I am, depending on the game.
Oh, look, Slow-Mo, his Fortnite, I want to snipe you in the head side came out for a second. He's like, I ain't no support player. Wait a minute, it depends on the game that I'm playing.
Look, in Rogue Company, sometimes I'll play the healer, and I'll only have a pistols because I'll be putting all my money into the perks to get my healing up faster. So like, I get it. Anyway, back to Cyberpunk, right? So.
Clifton.
Yeah. I agree, Clifton, and I think Clifton says he's not going to buy any CDPR game day one, and I agree with that. Like, I think that CD Projekt Red has lost any benefit of the doubt here. They would be foolish to launch this game as bad as the previous game was, because the previous game was like, I mean, good grief, that's like terrible.
Doesn't it feel like the publishers and the head honchos over at CD Projekt Red got away with like ridiculous murder?
They did
by pushing that game out, and now all of a sudden everybody's in love with the game because the show came out on Netflix, Edge Runners, and now they're looking at all those developers saying, see, we told you everything was gonna be okay, we're loved again.
But they did fix the game. Look at that. And I played
they did fix the game.
As I said earlier, I've been playing Cyberpunk again, trying to get that the Sandevistan build, and I haven't noticed a single bug so far, which is surprising for this game, because I used to run into a bug and performance issues every 5 seconds when I beat the game. But it's okay.
I just laughed.
What are your thoughts on them doing a sequel? There's also supposed to be a DLC coming out next year for it too.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on the DLC and the sequel? I know you played it, right?
I did. Well, I haven't beat it, but I did. I got pretty decently far. Probably not decent.
Are you at this point where I am in the gameplay? Have you met Panda?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I like the game. Like I refused to play the game when it first came out. I said, yeah, I'll wait till at least the Xbox Series X enhancements come out.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like kind of in line with the rest of the stuff that they fixed in the game. So, you know, my overall anger towards the game really isn't there, because I just listened to what everybody else said, and I was like, I just won't play this and go through this right now. But I do think it is probably the best idea for them to make something new for the game. You know, they already pretty much went through and redid a lot of the stuff that they said they were going to do. Unfortunately, it should have never came to that.
Mm-hmm.
But now that we got the new TV show out on Netflix, now that a lot of people are going out and buying the game again, it's like the best time to actually, you know, strike while the iron's hot, get more people excited for the stuff you got coming in the future. We know that, like you said, the DLC is coming. That's probably going to be really good, because that's the one thing that CD Projekt Red always has been really good at, is crafting new stories inside of the games they already have, because the DLCs and most of all their games is somewhat always better than the actual main game. and it has really good parts to it. So I think that's something people are really, really looking forward to. Now that the technical side of the game is taken care of, they can really focus on the story elements, and now they can just take what they learned from this and all of the decisions they made going into whatever the sequel of this game is going to be. I think that's really cool too. But I do think it's good if they do announce the sequel, because I think a lot of people still haven't forgotten what happened with this game. As much as people like where it's at now, I think the faster you can get onto something else with the good graces that people are in right now, I think you'll get you'll get better reception to the next game that they're making. But just like Clifton said, a lot of people are going to probably not buy day one, but if it comes out in whatever that is actually really good, I can see the reception being amazing. So I think it's kind of twofold. It just really comes down to how long it's going to take them to build it. But the DLC will definitely hold people over for a while. And if we see some type of sequel for Cyberpunk 2077 in like 2027, 2028, towards the very end of the generation, or something that's going to bridge the gap between the next generation and this generation, I think that would be a really good thing for them to kind of hang their hats on.
I think they have an opportunity to regain some of their reputation, but there's always going to be people who won't forget.
Right, exactly.
There's going to be people who will, as far as they're concerned, they're never going to get that respect back for the things that they lied about. They lied about this game. They said things that weren't true. They showed us content that didn't make it into the final game. I think that's always kind of like a cardinal sin of developers to do that. Like, don't show anything. I know it's difficult to do that, but like if it's too early and you're not quite certain that some of the content is going to make it into the final product, then you just don't show it. Like, is that? I mean, I don't want to say is that so hard. I'm not a developer, or I haven't worked on a game before, but it's just like, for me, that's just it's. You can't do that, because even though you may put work on progress on the trailer, things are subject to change. There's going to be the majority of people aren't going to see those words in the fine print that say that, and then you're going to get people who, regardless of knowing that, they got hyped off of the things that they saw, specific things, and when those things are gone, it's like, well, even though you said things were subject to change, I'm still disappointed. But the bugs, the issue, like the hiding of the console version to try to manipulate reviews, which worked primarily, like that kind of stuff is just it's difficult to come back from that. In a TV show, a really good TV show, and fixing your game the way it should have been in the first place is not going to be enough. Now, I did want to just like acknowledge real quick, and shout out to 343 and those who think that 343 can't change their game engine. CD Projekt Red is dropping the only engine they've ever used in their games for Unreal Engine 5. So, look, don't be surprised. I'm not saying it's definitely going to have a Halo Infinite, but just don't be surprised if that's the case in the future.
So I have a question. I have a question. So the Min-Maxer build, how long is that?
Why
that time
are you
good
on
for?
that?
How long is the time for? Is it 2-3 hours?
It's 2 hours.
I think it's 3. You just wanted
It's
to
two.
say 2.
It's always been 2.
I'm thinking about making you play. I'm thinking about giving us an early Halloween gift.
Can we get back to the topics? Can you focus on the show?
Alien Isolation. I'm thinking about it.
How about you answer some questions about Cyberpunk?
I've been answering questions the whole time. You just want me to get off this whole kick. Hey, Alien Isolation is a really good game, sir. It's like one of the better Alien.
I don't care. So
you're probably gonna care later today.
Not true. There was something else that I can't remember now. You didn't throw me off. Thank you for not paying attention to the show.
You're welcome.
we can move on.
He completely threw it off. He lost his whole train of thought.
It's a really pretty game. It's I actually am.
So, do you like the new
myself.
weapons and stuff? Do you like the new weapons and stuff that they added?
They added new weapons. I didn't even know.
That's what I heard. I heard they added new weapons with some of the updates and stuff, or not probably new weapons, but
I'm just working to getting that
some of the stuff.
I'm just working to get to that specific mod that allows me to go into bullet time every 30 seconds. And
you want to go? You want to?
I want to be like it in edge run. That's all I want right now. I have to have my I have to have some. My crafting has to be at 18 because I have to craft it, and then my reflexes have to be at 15, I think, and then there's a bunch of other stuff that has to be like up there in order to even be able to get it and use it. But that's what I'm working towards. So I'm kind of like doing all like hunting down the cyber psychos and all the side missions and protecting people, all the stuff, the bounty hunter stuff, to kind of get also your reputation as your reputation in the city has to be at 26, and I'm at like 18 right now, so I got a ways to go, but it's whatever.
Rodimus said, funny thing, we were talking about these low tier GPUs, and you can get in Slumbo, you can get a special Xbox Series S and a controller for $250.
Why? Ew.
He has a Series S already though.
I know, like why I keep telling him that, and like he doesn't arrive.
I don't count that as, you know, him being an Xbox gamer though. You know, you gotta have the creme de la creme.
We going.
Yay, my favorite topic.
Your favorite topic, huh?
So it's been such a great week.
So PlayStation on PC. So that's the topic here. Shout out to Herman Holst, who this week was it earlier this week? Yes, it was Tuesday.
It was literally Tuesday.
Herman did an interview where he explained that there will be at least a year between PlayStation console and PC game releases, and these would be like your typical PlayStation games, your Ghost of Tsushima's, your God of War, your Horizon Forbidden West,
your Spider-Man 2s and Wolverine.
Spider-Man 2s and Wolverine. There's going to be at least 1 year delay for the PC version. Which is, you know, remember, it was like a year or two ago, he was like, we just testing this. It's no big deal.
Testing this.
And he was like, you know, we just getting caught. You know, it's like, look, we're whole slate. We're all in. We're gonna put all our games over there, but like they'll get there eventually. You know, it's no big play. The console is our primary platform. You know, that's never going to change. Now it's a year. All right, look, it's a year. But great thing here is live service. The live service games will be day and date. Now, I don't want to pat myself on the back too much, but I've been said this.
Yep.
I've been saying this for over a year. When they first said whole slate, I said their live service games are going to launch on PC. And why the freak not? Think about Destruction All Stars for a moment. Not that good a game, right? Okay, but maybe it would have had a little bit more legs if it also had a PC community that could have potentially played the game and could have been filling in some of those lobbies. This is the mindset that Sony has. Factions 2 is going to launch. It's confirmed now. It's going to launch on PC day one with the PlayStation. And why do they want to do that? Because they have more people in the game. That's all they care about, is having more people in the game, more people potentially buy microtransactions off those games. This is the road. They are focused on mobile and PC. They're not focused on this may be very painful for the PlayStation fan that's going to hear this. But as far as it may not be, you may not feel this true, but they kind of feel like you're not the priority anymore.
Oh no, you gotta say it like I said in the video.
Well, you say it like how you said it in the video.
Listen, as a PlayStation gamer, you need to realize that you're not enough for PlayStation anymore. PlayStation gamers aren't enough.
Yeah,
PlayStation gamers themselves aren't enough anymore. And that's what you kind of got to realize. And I think that kind of shocks people because everybody was on this high horse talking about PlayStation values their games. They like to have their blockbuster releases, and they really care about their ecosystem and the platform that they're making because they want to sell systems. And I'm like, okay, that's what they're saying now, but what they say in the future is going to be something completely different because the narrative has consistently changed ever since Jim Ryan has became the head of PlayStation. And guess where we are now? PlayStation is vehemently telling you in your face that, guess what? PlayStation, gamer, the people that love our platform, we still want to give these great games to you. But honestly, you're not enough to fulfill the things that we need to do as a platform to bring as much revenue that we need to do to keep making these amazing blockbuster games that you want us to make. And it also goes back to the whole thing that Phil, and nobody wants to hear this, but when Phil Spencer said this years ago, he said that the AAA market, when it comes to single player exclusive games, is not that it's dead. It's just the fact that it costs so much money for them to do. What do you expect them to do at the end? They have to find a way to get more money into the ecosystem. The console market is not as inflated as people think it is.
It's stagnant too.
Yeah, it's very growing. Stagnant. It's not growing. It's like everything else is growing in gaming around consoles. You don't see, you still keep seeing this. Let
me clarify that. It does grow a little bit, but it doesn't like PC gaming. And PC gaming grows a little bit faster than console gaming, but mobile gaming grows so much faster
than everything
else. And it's just like, for the cost of making games keeps going up, and those expenses aren't coming down. In addition to, they're not generating significantly more revenue, enough revenue to actually justify those costs. Also, you gotta look at like the fact Jim Ryan is in charge now, right? And a lot of people disagree with some of the decisions that he makes, but you gotta think about it from his shout out to East Texas Alex again. I think that is a PlayStation code there.
That is definitely a PlayStation code.
So go grab it before someone else does. Shout out to Alex again. Good guy there, good guy. What was I saying? So Jim Ryan, and usually this happens like when I was in the corporate world, as far as like in business administration kind of stuff. I was tasked, I had to outdo my my previous year. My everything that I did was about year-over-year growth.
Right.
Like it wasn't shot Iron Lewis podcast in the house. What's up? How's it going, guys? Everything that my bonus, my performance was measured off of was what did that generate in revenue last month and how did it compare to that same month a year ago. It's like that for a lot of business. You look at like when they do their financials and they talk to their investors, they always show you, even when we look at MPD and Matt Piscatella gives us the data, he's showing a lot of like, well, compared to last year, this is what gaming did this year. That's how people are performance is measured. And so for Jim Ryan, he's got to outdo an amazing end to the last generation for PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
They got multiple 20 million sold games. They sold amazingly on the PlayStation 4. He has got to outdo that. When the console market is not growing, at the kind of clip that he sees, where he can actually say, hey, look, I'm growing the business. I'm not here, I'm not just a caretaker, I'm not just a bus driver here, I'm not just maintaining what we grew and then waiting potentially for our competition to outdo us. I'm actually growing it. And if he's going to grow it, he's not going to grow it just with PlayStation gamers. They don't think you guys are going to buy more games. And the guys that are buying games, just keep it a buck. They know, even when you upset and you go on Twitter and you gnash your teeth and cuss people out and all this other stuff, and it's PlayStation is going down the drain, and oh, I don't like this, I'm not buying X, I'm not buying that. They know you not keeping it real. Mm-hmm. They know you're gonna buy it. They got you. You're not the priority anymore, because they know no matter what they do, you'll be there. They don't need to get you. You're not new business. They want new business, and new business is PC and mobile. Mm-hmm. And so this is why, look, the day will come where everything will be day and date. I think the majority, like, it used to be at a time where PlayStation gamers, that like, it cuts you out for even suggesting it. But now I think a good majority of them now understand that is the eventual reality, that eventually it's going to be day and date, because they just keep the timeline keeps moving. Next it'll be 6 months. 6 months. A year from now it'll be like, hey, shoot, The Last of Us Part 1 isn't getting at least a year.
No, it's not.
Yeah, the devs working on the game on Twitter said it was like, when asked about the PC version, fairly soon, very, very soon. They were talking like this year, and it looks like they wasn't able to make it this year. It's going to be early next year. But the Uncharted collection, the combination of Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy, when they came out with the update for that in what was that, February this year, January, something like that. That's coming out next month or this month. I think it might be this month. So that's less than a year. Returnal has a store, Steam store. Returnal came out. Oh, that was last year, right?
That was last year. Yeah.
That was last year. Okay, that doesn't count. But yeah, the timeline keeps getting shorter and shorter, and eventually it'll be day one on PC, just like it is on. Look, they're opening their own app on PC, because they have plans, and their plans isn't to give Valve 30% of all, and Epic 30% of all their sales. They see, I view it like they make quality single player games, and the kind of games they make aren't really like, there is no comparison usually on PC. I mean, you'll get like Rockstar dropping like a Red Dead on there, right? Mm-hmm. But like, there is no real comparison to the kind of games that they make on PC. They have as far as they're concerned, there's a huge market we can cultivate here. So yeah, absolutely. Like, it is what it is. Forte, I've been running my mouth. Forte, what are your thoughts on this?
Oh no, listen, man. I did a 2.5 minute video talking about this, and shout out to everybody that came through and supported it and stuff. But in general, man, it just ultimately comes down to these companies. Platform owners are not what these companies are looking for anymore. They are looking for people that are willing to, nibble in different places and stuff like that. So if would they prefer you to play it on a PlayStation platform? Probably so, because they'll get more of the revenue from that. But I think they're just at a point now where they're just tired of missing out on that extra 70% they could make by having the games like on Epic or Steam or something like that. You know, Epic is even higher because they have, not just because they have a little bit of influence inside of Epic because of the money that they put into it, but Epic has one of the best, you know, splits of any of the PC platforms when it comes to like 85-90% splits going towards the publisher. So they just want to be able to get their games in more places, and that also goes back to the thing where Jim Ryan and Herman Host talked about, you know, the blockbuster release and stuff. They want these games to feel massive. They want that type of experience that you can only get when you drop an amazing game like God of War Ragnarok or Spider-Man 2 when it comes out, of Wolverine. So they're just greasing this, they're just, you know, greasing the skis right now to put people in the situation where, you know, in 2025, 2026, you expect this to happen. And I think the biggest thing that kind of prompted me to make the video is I was just under the assumption that people knew this was going to happen, especially when it comes to games that are certain gas games. I'm like, yo, these games, the lifeblood of these games is having as many people in the ecosystem as possible. So when I started seeing, you know, disagreements and just this overall understanding that like they can't just put their games where they want to, that devalues a platform, I'm sitting there like, why is your experience, why is anybody's experience devalued because more people get to try your product out?
Right.
More people get a chance to experience the great things that we talk about when it comes to video games. I guarantee you, studios like what's the studio that made what's the name of the game with the girl, the roguelite? Returnal, yeah. What's the studio that made it? Housemarque. And who, I guarantee you, Housemarque wish they would have sold another 2-3 million on PC or something like that.
Right.
You know, Sucker Punch wish they probably sold another 1 million or 2 having the game on PC. Now, of course, they're not going to come out and say that because they're going to toe the company line with it being because, you know, PlayStation produced the game and they're being marketed by PlayStation and they're getting paid. They already got paid to make the game, but there is a thing called bonuses, and people do like getting them. And the only way you get more bonuses is if your game sells to more people. And not saying that the PlayStation ecosystem isn't conducive to selling, but people really overlook how much these games sell. Because yes, did a game like Days Gone sell a lot of copies? Yeah, it did, but it sold a lot of copies at a cheaper price. Same thing with Horizon Zero Dawn, sold 20 million copies. How many of those copies were sold when it was when it was for Game of the Year at 20, 25, 30 bucks at most? You know, we try to compare all of these things to like Nintendo, but their games never really drop on price. So when they say they sell 38 million copies of Mario Kart, guess what? It's probably a good chance that 90% of those games sold at $60 a pop.
Right.
And that's
unlike Days Gone that sold like I mean like estimated, like I think even the former Sony bin devs don't know how much it sold.
Don't even know how much it sold.
But like it's anywhere between 6 to 9 million, but like it still didn't generate enough revenue to justify a sequel, considering that they were well over budget. They took too long to make the game. And I think it was like 7 years in development, 6-7 years in development, for the game to sell primarily not at the $60 that it launched at, but more at like the sale prices of $20 and $30. Like that's half the revenue.
Right. And I think the biggest thing that ultimately just comes to this is, you know, it's not, you know, it was the video was all in fun, just to, you know, I told you so and stuff like that, because, you know, it just ultimately comes back to the hypocrisy where I just want to know, now that games are going to be going to PC, are we going to hear the next thing that, oh, since these games are going to go to PC, is it going to water down the experience? Is the experience of these games going to get worse overall? Is that what you're afraid of? Me personally, it just ultimately comes, it's just video games. Like all we do is talk about video games on a day-to-day basis, but it seems like the people, or just the overall feel, if you try to like fill out the room, is the people that don't care about this and they don't understand why people care about it. And then you got the other side of it that are upset because it's all about list wars. It's about me saying that my game's available on my platform and it's not available anywhere else, and you're a PC peasant, and you know you still got to wait a year to play the games that I get a chance to play by just paying a quarter amount of the money that you pay. But guess what? That is about to change. Little by little, you're seeing Jim Ryan go out there and make statements that come to the, you know, that go against everything that everybody kind of believes in, because he ran one of the most profitable markets in PlayStation. He brought it from the gutter. Like it was nowhere near as profitable as it was when he was the head over there just running the European market. And he ended up being the head of PlayStation now. And it ultimately comes back to this. He's a money motivated person that's making money motivated moves. And what do you expect him to do? Sit on his hands and just, you know, not try to make as much money as possible? Now you're starting to probably see why people like Sean Layton and Andrew House decided to pick up and leave, because they were 100% vehement about the PlayStation brand being the PlayStation brand. And that's not to say they were wrong, because they did an amazing job through 2014 to 2019, 2020 to get PlayStation 4 where it was. But we're heading into a brand new ecosystem where just playing games on your one particular platform and not having those games available in other places is starting to change. And this, like I said, the last thing I said in that video, we're not saying that God of War, we're not saying that Horizon Forbidden West, we're not even saying that Spider-Man Miles Morales or Spider-Man 2, any of those games was going to be something that's going to see within a year to 2 years of those games coming out. But the thing is, this is the building block. This is the ground zero of everything that everybody thought wouldn't happen starting to happen, and all we can do is go downhill from here. And sooner or later it's going to be 6 months, like you said, Slow-Mo, then it's going to be 3 months, then it's going to be a month, and then guess what they're going to do starting in the next generation with PlayStation 6? Probably they're going to start doing games day and day, because at that point the community is conditioned to know that the games are going to come quicker to PC. And what's the difference between 30 days and just launching it the day that it comes out? Nothing really. So that's when you're going to really see that really take off.
Yeah, I want to address the whole it makes the games less quality
Please
thing.
do. Please
Because
do.
there's multiple reasons why that's not true. Now, let's first start with the rationale behind it, and usually is rooted in Xbox. And let's start. The first thing people say is, oh, well, look at Xbox games. They put their games on PC day and date. Look at the quality of those games. Those same people didn't like the quality of Xbox games before they started putting them day and date on PC. But they don't want to admit that. So what's changed? You didn't like the quality of those games before they made the change, and you don't like the quality after. Seems like it has less to do with the games being on PC and more to do with Xbox as a publisher, period. That's one. They will admit that Xbox is a poor publisher, but won't admit that PC ports have nothing to do with it. Two, there are people who like to point to what devs have said. What devs has said this, and they'll have screenshots. Hey, look, devs are saying this, that if you put it on PC, it's going to affect this and that, and it's going to change what we're trying to do with the game, yada, yada, yada. I can point to devs who say the opposite, so what? You literally can find a dev out there that can tell you anything. Tell you this is great or that are great. It doesn't matter. I know at least 3 devs who've said the opposite. That's one. And the other part of that is that we've had a talk with developers about this, Forte, on this show actually before. when you are making your game in the pre-production process, and there's rescoping one, which rescoping means that you take a look at the entire game as a whole and you realize some things need to be cut because it doesn't quite work. Some things aren't going are too difficult to do on this platform. Look, people are worried about the vision of the game not being what the developer originally wanted, not knowing that whether it's a multi-plat game or an exclusive, a true exclusive game, none of them are ever finished what they were the vision was at launch. None of them finish with the same exact vision. They all get rescoped. They all get content cut. It is a natural part of game development.
Right.
And if they are going to put the game on PC and PlayStation at launch, we already saw it with this game that I'm playing right here with Spider-Gwen as the mod for Spider-Gwen and Spider-Man. What was the minimum spec for this, Forte? It was pretty freaking high. People was shocked. It was
pretty high. I was like, what?
They were recommending SSDs, like I told our good friend what is his name? Why can't Optimus? I'm sorry, I couldn't think of Optimus' name, but we had Optimus on this show, and shout out to him. I hope he's doing well right now.
Absolutely.
But Optimus, me and him disagreed, and he thought that he was like it would be a problem for PlayStation to do that. But no, as I said, all you gotta do is tell people run an SSD, bruh.
That's it.
That's
what you need.
Minimum SSD. Period. Oh, minimum a 2060. People was like, a 2060, clutching their pearls. Yeah, 2060, bruh. Ooh, a 3070 for recommended. Curl, clutching their pearls. Upgrade your ish, bruh. Upgrade your PC, man. Like, what are you talking about? You don't have to do minimum spec. You don't have to compromise your game. And frankly, that's beginning of the generation foolishness to begin with. As the years go on, it's going to be easier and easier for PC gamers to run PlayStation's games. Because guess what's fluid and moves and changes? PC market. Dropping new GPUs every year, new PSUs every year, new CPUs every year, people doubling their RAM every year. Guess what's not changing? Your PS5. So what exactly are they doing in a game that's going to be so advanced that you can't run on a PC? Give it 2 more years and a potato PC in 2 more years standards will be running games better than a PS5. So I don't want to hear the crap. Well, oh, it's holding anything. They ain't holding a damn thing back. Cut the cat.
Speak on it. Preach.
Your PS5, I say this. I said this multiple times. I'm gonna say it again. Your PS5 and your Xbox Series X was outdated when it launched, bruh.
That's definitely true.
The 2080 Ti, which is old as dirt now, was the best GPU out then, and it was way more powerful than your consoles at launch. So cut the crap with the but hey, everyone's running a 1060. That's not everybody. You don't even look at the percentages. The 1060 has a lead of less than 1% on the 2060. And guess what's after that? A 3060.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny about that?
It's hilarious that they made these arguments and don't know what they talked about when it comes to PC gaming. Go ahead.
No, you know the funny thing about that, when you just kind of made me think of something. Some people need to remember like you said, how PC's fluent. It always is always moving, is always moving forward, is always upgrading. And people are running, like you said, 1060s, 2060s. Has anybody thought that the reason they're running those systems is because they wanted to run those systems? Because maybe they don't have the money at this time to upgrade to get the stuff that they wanted, but at least they had the option to pick what they wanted. Versus if you pick up a PlayStation 5 or a Series X or a Nintendo Switch, you are locked into whatever configuration they have for you at that time when you purchase the system. And yes, they probably will come out with like a slimmer model. They may come out with a pro model at a later date, but usually those pro models are only a 5 to 10% uplift on what the system used to have before, where we're seeing graphic cards that release or CPUs that release that give you anywhere from 40 to 50% uplift from the year before. So people got to remember the fact that you get the option to pick what you want, because some people, like you say, Slomo, some people only need 1080p.
Yeah.
You know, some people also got to remember that 1080p on a 27-inch monitor or a 32-inch monitor with ultra settings and ultra textures probably still looks better than your 4K screen that they got you looking at in medium settings.
Medium, barely medium sometimes. You know,
medium
and then you'll get some games like Spider-Man is
or Red Dead Redemption. Some games like that is just amazing.
It's just amazing, and it looks great on consoles. It looks great on PC. PC just looks better. There's better ray tracing implementation on PC. You have the ability to play it at far higher frame rates, like I do. You know, like that's the benefits to it. Let's see. RRD with the $2 Canadian says wrong. PlayStation did change, higher price plus cheaper parts. But although you are right about that RRD, but I mean it's what's not changing is that APU inside of the PlayStation. That's not changing. That's going to be the same APU that's always going to be there, and that APU was not the most powerful out there when it launched, and it gets older and older as the years go by. Of course, they're going to do a PS5 Pro, and it's probably going to be on RDNA 3 or 4 or whatever else that AMD is, whatever architecture AMD is currently on. But the way that, like, consoles aren't like they were back in the day when me and Forte were like young, like in our early 20s and teenagers, where like the architecture was like custom, like it was something that was like, it didn't follow the same paths that PC did. Now it's just like they're streamlining things because they want to make sure that you're going to be able to play your old stuff. They want to make sure that it's far easier to do backwards compatibility and game development as far as complex as game development is now. They want to make things easier on everybody as well as the gamer and themselves. Everything is going to be x86 going forward. Everything is going to be, well, what's NVIDIA making as far as Nintendo goes? What's AMD making as far as Xbox and PlayStation goes? And then they will continue to just build from there. I mean, look, shoot, the Steam Deck does the same thing. It's like they're all going to just take less power hungry, more efficient, yet not as powerful versions of the architecture that is currently being used. Even Nintendo, like Nvidia wanted to give Nintendo a better Tegra chip than what's in the Switch. Nintendo was like, nah, I'm good, fam. We want that cheap one right there. We want that one, that the worst one you got. How cheap is that? Great. This is what you get with consoles. It's about ease and convenience, but the trade-off is that you're not going to have the power, and that's the way it is. Now, to go back to what we were talking about with day and date, it's my last point about how the devs, like when they were in pre-production, they're planning how to build the game, and of course they build to the lowest common denominator, right? What they're going to expect it to be on the worst, so they could, like, as far as logic goes with CPUs, like how many characters can I have on screen? How complex AI can we put in this game? How big are the maps going to be? Yada yada yada. And all that is set from the very beginning of the game. So, like, you're not getting the kind of compromises that you think you're going to get. And even if you do think that's the case, I mean, look, Horizon Zero Dawn was supposed to have flying in it, and they didn't, because the engine wasn't mature enough. That Decima engine at the time wasn't mature enough with the hardware that they were dealing with the PlayStation 4 to allow it. So you deal with compromises whether it's a multi-plat game or not. The problem, I think, is that people see mediocre developers who do multi-plats, and sometimes they do not put as much effort in all the platforms they put the game on as you would like, and they don't quite understand why that's the case, and just automatically assume that that's just like a byproduct of being a multi-plat developer, and that's not necessarily the case. Even with the way that PlayStation is putting their games on PC is different than how Xbox is doing it. Xbox actually has, for the most part, the developers that are making the games putting their own games on PC. Ubisoft does the same thing. There's a team within those developers that's doing the work to get the game on a different platform. And some people say, oh, that's a waste of resources. Although we don't really know whether they just added enough people to be able to make that work, or whether they actually took people away who could have been actually working on just the console version. You don't know that. You don't know how that's allocated. Regardless, PlayStation isn't doing that because they acquired developers like Nixxes. That's what Nixxes' job is. That's all they're here to do. That's all they ever done is port games, and that's all they're here to do. They're here to port games on to PC, and they mad busy, son. So what's the argument? It doesn't make any sense. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't make any sense. You're right. Well, I mean, time will tell. That's all I'll say. Yeah. All things will be revealed in the future. And the biggest thing I always tell people, don't take everything that CEOs stuff say at face value when they first, especially when they're trying to sell you something, because that's the thing right now. They have a platform that they know will sell. They said, what was all the things they said? We want to move as many people over to PS5 as possible because we want to, start the next generation. We believe in generations. And what happened? Oh, yeah, we do believe in generations, but we also believe in the generation that was the last generation. So we're going to bring those games out. And all of those people that we said, we want to move people as fast as possible over. Now, a lot of that had to do with the pandemic. I still believe. I think that's the reason they really dove deep into the PlayStation 4 because of that. But they pivoted, and when they pivoted really hard. And I think ultimately what's going to happen from this is I think they're in a situation where they see games like Fortnite, games like the whole Call of Duty fiasco that we're about to talk about later on. I think they're starting to see that we need to safeguard ourselves to make sure that we're still bringing in just as much profitability as we were bringing before all of this stuff happened. Because, gaming has grown, but has it grown in a sector that they house? We know mobile has grown. We know PC has grown. But what about the console market? You can go out and get a PS5 right now. They're not super hard to find, but you don't see 10 million systems sold in a month because people have found other avenues to get their games and play them. You know, they're playing on PC. They're playing. They may not need a PlayStation 5 yet. They like Slow-Mo. You talked about how, you know, I'm not going to invest in something I don't need, something that is not a benefit to me right now when it comes to the 3090. But for some of these people, they're looking at the PS5 and the Xbox Series X like, I don't need that. All the games that I play are still coming out on the previous platform.
That is true, and they won't make that move until they're forced to the games that they play are no longer coming out on that PlayStation 4 and that Xbox One. That's extremely true. I know a guy, one of my guys I played the Division with is like that. He still has an Xbox One X. And as far as he's concerned, he don't feel like he really needs to make any changes until games that he plays is no longer showing up on there. So yeah,
exactly. True. So yeah, that's where we're at now, and it's in Sony's court, it's in Xbox's court. I mean, even to an extent, it's in Nintendo's court to kind of push the narrative forward. And it's also, and I will say with these developers, it's also in these developers' courts when it comes to these games too, because as long as they're willing to support the old stuff, we're never going to get to a point where you're really going to, you know, see a drastic improvement in games. I mean, there's going to be some outliers, but as an industry, we have to move on past this. But I also think COVID added like another year to 2 years on top of what we're going to be seeing. And especially if you go off the leaked information that came out of Sony about PlayStation games being developed even further into the generation than we actually thought when it comes to PlayStation 4 doesn't look good. And then Xbox already had their situation where they said that they're supporting stuff, you know, pretty much indefinitely. Even though we do have games like Starfield that say they're next generation, but who knows? We'll see when it all happens. But you got anything else you want to add to it, Slomo?
Yeah, I missed the super chat, and I apologize to RRD. He said it's $2 Canadian. He said lack of funding hurt Xbox last gen, not PC. I agree with that as well.
I agree with that 100%.
Definitely a huge part of it. Shout out to Big Mike with the $2 super chat. Says Twitter just got an edit button. It's about damn time, Twitter.
Twitter actually has an edit button?
Yeah, and I like the way they're implementing it. I don't know if it's rolled out to everyone yet, but like we'll see.
I have it.
So this is the way you can edit, but people can see what you edited. So like if you can't, and I think there's a time frame to it, so it's not like you can't edit, like, you know how like people like try to like cover up on receipts. You know, try to like edit a tweet they said a year ago that was saying like, you know, some things that turned out to not be true. Like you can't edit that tweet, and even if you did edit it, like people can be able to see what the change was to it. So, Big Mike says you have to have. He says you have to have Twitter Blue, which is like, I ain't no way I'm getting Twitter Blue, but
I have Twitter Blue.
Why? Really? You barely on Twitter. Why you have Twitter Blue?
Well, I got Twitter Blue because when I do tweet stuff, I tend to F up a lot. So I don't pay attention to what I'm tweeting.
Makes sense.
But yeah, they give you 30 seconds. So you get the free 30 seconds or 15 seconds to fix it before it goes live.
They shouldn't have put that behind the paywall. That's really
that shouldn't be behind the paywall. You're right about that. So they give you the free 15 seconds to like edit the tweet before it goes live. That doesn't make it so they see your initial tweet because it hasn't went out yet. But once the tweet does go out, they give you a full 30 minutes to go back and edit the tweet again. But that's when all the stuff that you said kicks in, where it says you can kind of see what their initial tweet was. You can see all this, but after a certain amount of time, it kind of dissolves and goes into the other thing. But the biggest reason I did it, because I do plan on doing, and I haven't told you this yet, but the reason I did the last video was kind of a test. I was going to put it on my channel, but then I was like, no, I don't want to confuse the Destiny stuff with Xbox stuff or just the console stuff. So I was like, you know what? I'll post it as a Twitter video. But then since I was going to do that, the only way you can do longer than 2 minutes and 20 seconds is if you have Twitter Blue. And then you can upload at 1080p if you have Twitter Blue. So I was like, you know what? I'll do that. And it's $5. So
I
it
mean,
is
look,
what it is.
I think, I mean, maybe it's just me. I don't think it's like if you gonna do all that on a video that you go upload to Twitter, you might as well put that on YouTube, I think, or put it in YouTube Short or something.
Well,
At
if you're
least
gonna
make something off of it, you know,
that's
as a
true
YouTube
too.
partner, because you don't make nothing, you don't get anything off of Twitter except for engagement. But
That's
it's what it is. We can move on. I think we've been on this topic a little bit too
I like
long.
how you said you don't even be on Twitter. How you Twitter?
I wanted to bring up this topic because it kind of highlights. It kind of sucks, but I think it kind of shows something in the game industry I think that needs to change, and it's about Disco Elysium. And Disco Elysium is a Western RPG that was created by a new developer called ZAXM. I think is how you say their name. This developer has only made one game, and it's Disco Elysium. It won a ton of awards at the Video Game Awards. A lot of the award shows, like Best RPG, Best Writing. Like it's amazing. I played the game earlier this year. A little late to the party, but I enjoyed it thoroughly. The writing is superb, and it really is one of those games that when you beat it really makes you kind of like, you have to kind of just sit back and you're kind of like quiet for a while because you're trying to process what you just experienced. It's that good of a story, that good of a game. It's difficult too. It's not difficult in the sense like Dark Souls games are difficult because they're like, you die a lot. You will die in Disco Elysium, but it's difficult to get through certain dialogues, to get certain outcomes, to find the correct or the best path through a situation. And they nailed that. Now, like most indie developers, they have funding issues, and a lot that ends up really undermining a lot of the work that indie developers do when they can't complete their games, when they, or in this case, this situation, they get funding from a group that does not have their best interests at heart. And so to get to this situation, what's going on is that late in December of last year, and I don't know if you guys may remember it or not, but like when they won their awards at the Video Game Awards, they won like 5 awards that night. All 4 of the founders of the studio came out on stage every single time. All but one of them are gone now. 2 of them were forced out by the company that helped finish Disco Elysium in December of last year. And another one, and the last one left last month, I think it was, or no, sorry, not last month, last week. And it's pretty it's pretty depressing. This guy had, like, they had their own culture there. They had like a group that was about making sure that the culture of the studio remained what it was. And curious enough, if you play the game kind of gets into these kind of themes where there are people or organizations that have a strong mentality and a great vision, and then all that stuff just gets ruined and eroded, and then to only caring about money. And people started to wonder if that was going to be the case with Disco Elysium, because Amazon is doing a TV show off of it, and people were just like, wait, what? TV show of Disco Elysium, what's going on? And then to find out the founders aren't even there anymore, it's unfortunate. But this is what happens, we see developers take crappy deals from publishers and they end up losing their IP. And look, there's going to be a Disco Elysium 2. I'm not looking forward to it anymore because the people who the lead writer isn't there, the lead artist isn't there, their top programmer isn't there. Who is that developer anymore? I don't know. And so, like, I just,
right,
yeah, you know, I kind of wash my hands of it. Forte, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I looked into it after you had sent the message on it, and I was like, "Yo, this is." So this like happened over a year ago, and it just came out that these people were let go under false pretenses and stuff, and that's super. Wow, it's like, and the fact that it came out is because you know, like you said, they feel like people, the fans needed to know why this actually happened. You know, NDAs and stuff like that, people not knowing what they can and can't say and stuff like that. And we all know about, you know, when people get let go from places, they got these little things that they sign basically saying, well, we're going to separate and you can't say why you were let go and all this other crazy stuff, which is all just to protect the company. It ain't got nothing to do with protecting you. It's just that they want to protect themselves from any blowback that they get of saying, well, this is why we let this person go. And they don't want to house any ill will. And I'm glad stuff like this comes out because it just lets you know that these companies, you're just a number to them. You're just an employee to them. You're just a dollar sign that they assign to you, that they're willing to pay you per hour or salary wise. And once they don't need you anymore, or once they feel like you are not needed or useless to them, this is the type of stuff they do. They find a reason to get you up out of there. Good or bad, legal or illegal, or just in any way that they can basically do it, or just if people just don't like it. That's the other thing. Stuff like this happens because people just don't like people. People just don't like the direction that people are moving when it comes to things that they're saying. So there's probably going to be more that comes out from this because when you read it, he even talked about how there's stuff that he doesn't know what he can and can't say, but he said there's way more than what people think there is from this whole ordeal. So that just lets me know that there's skeletons all over the place. So I ultimately thought of you because I know you really liked the first one, and I know you was going to probably be super excited for what their next project was going to be. But for people like you, I feel bad because how are you supposed to feel? How are you supposed to feel about a studio or a developer that treats their employees this way? Like, we're all employees at different places. We all have something that we have to work hard for. But then when you see those people taken advantage of, or things that happen to these people that probably shouldn't have, especially under false pretenses, that's very disheartening, and it makes you not want to support anything like that. So
yeah, even though, like, apparently I found some quotes from the last guy that left, who said that I think he was actually the lead writer of the first game, and he said that enough of the sequel is finished that if it did come out, it might not be bad. As long as they don't change too much of it, he won't know because he's not there anymore, so he doesn't know what they're doing to it. But even if it's the exact version of the game that they made, I'm of the mind that I don't want to play it just because the people, like, I don't want to give my money to people who treat like their employees like that. And I don't think they did. Like, I'm not going to watch the TV series that they're going to do, which I think is probably going to be complete garbage because it doesn't have the actual, like, minds that created this IP, created this world involved in it. I'm not watching that. So it's unfortunate, man. It keeps happening, and I think that, like, the more it gets brought up and the more it gets brought out into the light, it gives people the option to choose with their wallet.
Yep.
And because even though this may not be information that gets to everyone, there are going to be people who are going to buy Disco Elysium 2 because they thought the first one was good. and not know, like, them, like, what the heck happened to this, and not
Right.
know what happened. But if you can get the word out that, like, hey, look, it's basically not even the same studio anymore. It's not even the same people making the game, and they don't even understand the purpose and the themes and what the writer was trying to convey, or how the gameplay was so fine-tuned so that even when the very little times violence happens in a game, it's so epic when it happens. They don't even know how to make that work. So it's just like, no, what? Just don't even bother. But
Right.
we can move on to our second to last topic.
Second to last.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stuff that happened this week.
Oh boy. So here we are, right? We got some news this week
We did.
that there's another remaster coming. Well, a rumor. This is a rumor. Technically still a rumor, even though everyone who has any kind of sources, and anyone who is any kind of verified source, person who has sources out here in the gaming industry, has already said they talked to their sources and can confirm that this is real. There's supposed to be a Horizon Zero Dawn remaster coming, with also some kind of multiplayer being in development as well. It looks like this remaster is going to have improved lighting, textures, animations, and models of the characters, additional accessibility options, and that the multiplayer would be some kind of co-op mode to the game. So and it's apparently Guerrilla Games, the developer of Horizon Zero Dawn, wanted co-op in the game originally. I'm trying to picture how that would have looked. I don't. I can't see it because it's just really Aloy doing everything, you know, in this world by herself for the most part. But well, not always for the most part. She'll have side missions with other people, but like, yeah, I don't know. It's
Did you load this game up just for this gameplay?
No, this gameplay is super old, man. I actually reinstalled the game earlier just to play it because I wanted to play it with the overpowered armor, and then in the frozen wilds.
That overpowered armor is really good.
Yeah, and I wanted to do the frozen, you know, do something.
Frozen wild.
Yeah, but I ran out of time, and I just like I checked my my external drive where I put a lot of stuff on that for content creation, and I found this gameplay from back when I played the original game, and this is even before I quit the game. So this is probably around the time period where I quit the game because I was so bored. Anyway,
as you should be.
Forte, what are your thoughts on this remaster? Because it looks like there is a Horizon Zero Dawn TV show that looks like it's being developed by Netflix, I think.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people are speculating that they're doing this remaster, similar to how they did a remake of The Last of Us Part 1, because when The Last of Us TV show comes out on HBO, they are hoping for a revitalized interest in it, the way that CD Projekt Red, who we talked about before, has got revitalized interest in their games of Cyberpunk 2077 and The Witcher 3, based on those TV shows. So what are your thoughts about that?
Then at least it's not a remake of a remake of a remaster. At least this will be the first time they do it. So for me, I'm not as upset about it as a lot of other people are. I get why people feel the way they feel. I think the biggest thing is, if PlayStation was announcing a bunch of other games and stuff, like if Guerrilla had, you know, if we knew what Guerrilla was working on next, because right now it just seems like Guerrilla is the Horizon team. They just work on Horizon stuff.
Well, not necessarily. So, they do have a second studio.
They do, but
that's working on an unannounced multiplayer game that will be coming out on PC.
Yes, exactly. And that's the thing. I think it's the fact that it's not announced and people haven't heard from it. we talked about this on Brap yesterday. I just think that people tend to, get really upset at stuff like this when it's not a curated response from PlayStation or whoever it's supposed to be coming from. Because like we talked about, like PlayStation this game isn't probably for 90% of the people that already played it. It's for the people that are coming
for new players.
Yeah, it's gonna be for the new people. But who are the people that's gonna hear this when it does get leaked out? If this is the case, it's the hardcore fans, and the first thing they're gonna do is like, well, who asked for this? Well, we know you're not asking for it, but it might be other people that buy a PlayStation 5 in the future that didn't get a chance to play the Horizon Zero Dawn. Maybe they didn't have a PS4 at the time, or maybe they didn't know that it was available on PC. So it just ultimately gives, once again, more ways for people to play the games that they enjoy and get people excited into ecosystems. And we saw what a TV show did for a game that literally had sold 13 million copies and literally had a bunch of games returned and still sold a bunch. And now you see that the love and admiration for that game has kind of come back because people live and they forget. I mean, not live and forget, but they live and forgive. They don't forget, but they're willing to, give it another chance and give it another try and see exactly where the game is now. And that's what I think is going to happen with this, because I think a lot of people that did play this game, maybe it would be a good thing for them to go back and see exactly what changes they made. Maybe the game won't be as boring as it was the first time. Maybe they'll cut out
I don't think they
some of those
the story.
things. I don't think they are either.
I don't
but we
think they're
don't know
making
what
those
they're
kind
going
of
to do.
changes. I actually kind of I'm leaning more towards it. Like, we don't know for certain, because of course this is an unconfirmed rumor, even though it seems very solid. Like, this is going to turn out to be true. I don't think it's like a lot of the reports initially that was like it's a remake fell back on that and was like, nah, it's a remaster. And I actually would kind of probably go, I think it's going to be less in The Last of Us Part 1 realm or even Demon Souls, but more like the Uncharted collection they did, where that Uncharted collection had it was essentially like, if you already own the game, all you had to do was spend $10 to get this upgraded version of it. I think it will be like that. And it seems like for a lot of these games, let's take Ghost of Tsushima and Returnal as examples, that when they add multiplayer post-launch, that's usually free.
Right.
So I think that it's going to be a $10 upgrade for the multiplayer and these changes to the game. But I do largely think that it's still unnecessary regardless of that fact, because I think it's unnecessary because the game's beautiful. The Decima engine is a great engine. This game, look at this. There aren't too many games like this. Of course, it's the PC version, so the PC version is superior to the PlayStation version. But this is a good looking game, and the facial animations are a bit bad and wonky, but it's still a better looking game than 95% of the games that are out right now.
Right.
So it's a better game than 95% of the games that are out at this moment. When this remaster where everything comes out in a year or two from now, it probably is still going to hold up. So I don't think it's necessary. I think if someone watched the TV show on Netflix and was like, yo, that was cool, I heard there's a game, I'm gonna buy that game, they're not gonna be like, yo, this game is ugly. Look at this game. They're not saying this game is ugly. They're not gonna say it's ugly. It's not. Now, if you just want to say, hey, look, we wanted to get a true PS5 version of the game, and we're adding multiplayer and a bunch of other stuff to it, that's fine. But if the thought process is that, like, hey, new gamers are gonna play this because of the TV show, like. Right. You're not turning anybody off with a game that looks like this. Now, what may turn them off is the bad story pacing, but that's an issue with Guerrilla overall in general.
With their games in general, yeah.
Right. Anything else you want to say about this?
No, man. I guess we have one more thing. Listen, like I said, it's not a remake of a remaster. I'm just happy about that. But I'm also happy to see that PlayStation is making, calculated moves to just find a way to bring more revenue in. Um, Last of Us Part 2 brought over to the PS5. I don't know. We haven't heard any sales figures or anything or any numbers like that, but I guarantee it definitely made some people happy. And I just think that sometimes you just got to kind of look outside yourself and say, all of this stuff that happens isn't always going to be for me. All of these showcases they talk about, they're not going to always be for me. When there is something for me, I'm going to be super excited, but I can't get down on them for wanting to hit more of the adjustable market when it comes to profitability, revenue, things that's going to drive the needle into the green. And once you get to that point and you just think of it as like, yeah, I love PlayStation or I love Xbox, I love the ecosystem, but you just got to realize that, yeah, but their job is to find a way to entice more people to come into that ecosystem.
Make
and how
money.
do you do that?
Right.
And how do you do that? By doing the things that they're doing. So if this rumor is true, that just means they made a calculated decision to say that what is the ROI on us building this game, not probably from the ground up, because I think they use choice words when they talk about stuff like that. Because when you look at Last of Us Part 1, does it look like they really built it from the ground up? You can see some improvements they made, but it wasn't like nothing from the ground up. And I think they shoot themselves in the foot when it comes to stuff like that. So if this is true, just keep it honest. Let people know exactly what they're getting. Don't try to oversell it, because as long as you don't oversell it, I don't think people will have a real big problem with it. But that's where they get in trouble at, with especially their community, because their community has a high standard for the things that PlayStation releases. And if they feel like something is just cookie cutter and they feel like it's not really benefiting them because of what you said previously, that's when they get upset. So it's on PlayStation, but it's also on the fans to not overreact to every little thing that happens.
Agreed. We can move on to our final topic, and I think there are plenty of people who are
dancing in the street,
itching with this one to get into this one. So we got a final verdict from Brazil, who was all the rage in the gaming community, with a lot of their very public release of documentation in regards to the acquisition of Activision Blizzard King by Microsoft, and the various points or opinions of all the people that they deemed might have an issue or not have an issue with it. We saw a lot of Sony's arguments about this and how it affects PlayStation, and we saw some counter arguments from Microsoft. And Brazil has come with a final verdict of approving of the acquisition with zero restrictions, no changes to the acquisition whatsoever. And so what I did want to do real quick is take a look at some of the things that they said. And so they have a couple things I want to read, and so bear with me.
No, go ahead.
The first one is about what the translated conclusions that they came to. Now, I'm not going to read all of it because a lot of it talks about horizontal overlaps, vertical effects, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, all right, cool. But let's talk about, there's a part here where it says, with regard to the possibility of closing markets, the analysis pointed out that despite their relevance and popularity, Activision Blizzard games, and in particular the Call of Duty series, would not be essential assets to the performance of Microsoft's current and potential competitors in the console and digital game distribution markets. Considering in the latter, both digital stores and multiple game subscription services for PC and consoles. Thus, even if the Activision Blizzard game catalog were to become exclusive to the Microsoft ecosystem after the transaction, SGK, I guess that's the regulatory committee, considers that such exclusivity would not result in a substantial reduction in the levels of competition in the downstream markets, even if it could translate into a competitive advantage for Microsoft. So to translate that, they're saying that Sony can still compete even if Call of Duty and all of Activision Blizzard King games are exclusive to the Xbox ecosystem. They said, furthermore, it is important to highlight that the central objective of CADE's activities is the protection of competition as a means of promoting the well-being of Brazilian consumers, and not the defense of the particular interests of specific competitors. I'm gonna repeat that again, okay? Because that was, I thought, some interesting kind of shade there to Sony. It is important to highlight the central objective of CADE's activities is the protection of competition as a means of promoting the well-being of Brazilian consumers and not the defense of the particular interests of specific competitors. It seems to me that they may have felt some kind of way about Sony really complaining about like what this would do to their profits, or you know, how much revenue they're generating. But when you really like, they didn't present an argument that this would stop them from competing, because it doesn't stop them from competing.
Right.
And yeah, there's another part that I wanted to read back. And before we do that, Forte, what are your thoughts about Brazil's argument there?
Man, listen, I just want this to be over with. It's
Yeah,
like
I agree with that.
I understand why everything's happening. You got Jim Ryan going all over the globe trying to fight the good fight, trying to find a way to cancel the deal, purge the deal, whichever you want to call it. I'm just glad that the decision was finally made, good or bad. I mean, yeah, of course, being a Xbox fan, being somebody that likes the Xbox ecosystem, and I want to see Xbox succeed. I want to see stuff like this happen, because I do feel like Xbox has kind of been the brunt of a lot of jokes over the course of the last generation, because it mostly fault of their own because of the direction they went starting in like 2010, when they decided not to invest in their first party studios and really just shut it down going into the Xbox One generation. So we got to hold them accountable for that. But I also want to praise them for the direction that they're going in now. Saudi is behind them. They're making mergers and acquisitions, making these moves to try to find a way to make their platform more appealing to people. Some people don't like the way that they're doing it, but I'm looking at it like, well, you guys didn't think that a dog would bark. I mean, a dog with a bark wouldn't bite you, and that's what's happening. And it's really interesting just to see the change in the overall like demeanor of Microsoft over the course of the last 5 or 6 years, really being behind gaming. They really feel like gaming is something that they can hang their hat on, and they want to be a leader in that market. And in order to be a leader in something, you kind of got to take somebody down along the way, and that just happens to be Sony that's right there. So knowing that this is one step closer to a resolution that would kind of benefit them, I feel like it's a good thing. Now, for me, ultimately, the reason I want this to be done with, because I want to see what Microsoft's going to do with it. Like, what are you going to do with all of this power that you basically accumulated with all of these studios, with all of these developers? What are we going to do to basically make sure that the sins of the past don't interfere with the future? I would like to see what happens from that, and I want to see if they actually can build a prominent platform that people can feel like this is an amazing thing to be of. Because right now people are still living off a dollar deal. Like, I know I'm still living on it. What's going to happen when 2024 comes around and my dollar deal's up? Is Xbox going to be in a better place at that point? Am I going to be willing to spend the $15 a month to actually keep my Game Pass subscription or whatever the price of it is going to be at that time? No one really knows. People say that they know that, oh, this is amazing and I'm going to keep it forever. I don't know what my kids are going to be into because my kids, they benefit from Game Pass more than I do. You know, the last time I benefited from Game Pass consistently was when Destiny was a part of Game Pass, and that's been over a year since it's been out of there almost. So I just like that they're doing something. I like that the regulators are finally slowly but surely coming around to the decision that, you know, not that I want them to make, it's just a decision in general. And I just want to see Microsoft do something with it now. That's ultimately what I want from this. I want it to go through so I can see if they learned anything from when they had a bunch of studios before back in 2005 and 2006 and 2007. And did they actually garner some type of brain along the way to say that we're not going to relive the sins of the past and we're going to do better in the future? So that's what I learned from all of this. And that's what I want from all of this, you know, understandably.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I think, well, I just kind of feel like, I think they have learned some things. I think they've learned that you got to actually spend some money to make money in this industry. That you can't just be cheap for no daggone reason when you're a $1 trillion corporation and expect your platform to grow. You got to spend that money, and they definitely are spending that money. That said, I don't think they've quite learned how to be a manager of games, how to be a publisher.
Yes.
And that's pretty evident with how some of these acquired studios have gone through some turmoils, some growing pains, and haven't really had a guiding hand from Xbox leadership to kind of help them along the way with that. Shout out to Corey Hill with the $20 super chat. Says, what's good, Forte Slow Mo in the chat? What's good, Corey? Appreciate your support, bro. I wanted to, well, in regards to what the part I read, I do agree with Brazil. Their job isn't to protect Sony from Microsoft in their bank account. You have to compete, and taking Call of Duty, and I am one of those that feel like after the 3 years are up, at some point they're going to want to try to make it exclusive, but they want to make it exclusive when the majority of the people who are playing Call of Duty are playing it in their ecosystem and now on PlayStation. They kind of feel like 3 years of getting the marketing, getting, hey, it's in Game Pass now, you don't have to spend that money. Then they could like provide benefits for people who sell the Game Pass Ultimate to get like cosmetics and that kind of stuff to kind of make it worth their while. Whatever they do to try to entice people to get into their subscription service, because that's the way they want to do business. I think they think that after 3 years they might be able to, sway enough people to move enough of the Call of Duty people, not like everybody on PlayStation, but the people who play Call of Duty, to primarily play that on Xbox. And if it's not, then after 3 years they'll just re-up. Like that's their, I think. But ultimately, I think they want to make it exclusive at some point and not remain multi-plat in perpetuity. Now that said, none of this stops Sony from competing. Sony's whole idea that they can't make no one can make a shooter that rivals Call of Duty, I think it's just not true, because like at one point, that's what people would have said about Halo and Microsoft about they're a first-person shooter that was the king of first-person shooters on consoles at one point, and that's clearly no longer the case now. So like times change, and as generations go by, and there are newer gamers that come out, and like Call of Duty eventually be the old man shooter, the way Halo is the old man shooter. These younger generations now gravitate more towards battle royale games like Apex Legends and Fortnite, games like Minecraft, where it's super unique, like Roblox. Like there's a whole generation of gamers that don't care about COD and probably won't ever care about COD. And so the old school COD hardcore will remain, but as time goes on, you get older, like there's just be it will slowly dwindle, and so I've never felt that Call of Duty like was going to always be super relevant for forever anyway. So I think that the whole idea that they can't compete is just is foolish, and they know that. I think they're just saying it because it's a good. They want to come up with an argument to try to stop this deal from happening because they don't want to lose the revenue. I mean, it's the highest selling thing on their platform. Of course, they wouldn't, right? But they're already working towards coming up with solutions, alternatives to Call of Duty. Like they were already working on their own multiplayer games, but now like it's with this happening, it's even more imperative that they get and they're putting more money behind these games so that like hopefully that they are successful, because like you got 12 live service games, they want at least one or two of those to hit. One or two of those hit, they can be generating just as much money as Call of Duty is generating for them, especially exclusive to their platforms. Live service games make a lot of money when they have a huge community that's spending money on battle passes, expansions, and microtransactions. Yeah, that money generates crazy revenue. Look at some of the games that are live service games that are on PC, which is the reason why they're making it again. Why they're making those games launch on PC. Right. Riot Games is probably the biggest publisher on PC right now. Riot Games makes League of Legends and Valorant. Right. The one and two of the games that are got the biggest player populations concurrently on PC. Like the opportunity is there, and like, we talk about Fortnite all the time, but those two games are bodying Fortnite on the PC platform. So like opportunities there. I did want to talk about something that is in the document, and this part I think is very relevant to some things that we've said in on DPS before, in live streams, whatever. So essentially this is what's said here. It says investment in exclusive content is and has always been very important for competitive dynamics in the console segment. Exclusive content was most likely one of the main factors responsible for positioning PlayStation as the leader of the world console market for more than 2 decades, a leadership that lasts to this day. Nintendo adopts a commercial strategy strongly based on its own brands and games exclusive to its consoles, as well as in the licensing of these brands for the production of other consumer and entertainment products. Microsoft, which currently seems to be selling fewer consoles than the two competitors worldwide, as suggested by the estimate contained in Table 29 and Chart 5 above, which we can't see, of course, has invested heavily in the acquisition of development studios and game publishers to strengthen the content of Xbox and Game Pass in order to make its products and services more attractive to consumers. Now, you guys might be like, well, like Slow-Mo, why are you even saying this? Of course we know exclusive content is important. Of course we get that. Like, why are you bringing this up? Well, I'm bringing it up because it goes into this next part where the commission says that they believe that the fact that Call of Duty is traditionally a series of cross-platform games has a significant influence on the number of users and sales performance of the franchise. After all, it is a logical inference that the greater the number of hardware platforms on which a particular game is playable, the greater the base of potential users and buyers of such a game. Given this context, it is likely that, at least in the short term, Call of Duty would lose a significant volume of revenues and players if their games were no longer offered to users of the most popular console in the world, i.e. PlayStation. In fact, such a hypothetical scenario could not only negatively impact the numbers of the franchise, but also favor other multi-platform games similar to Call of Duty that remain on PlayStation, such as competing series Battlefield by EA and Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six of Ubisoft, which is something that the CEO Andrew Wilson of EA said. He actually said that to investors recently, that they were looking forward to the acquisition because it was going to open them up to less competition on PlayStation and the opportunity for more sales. Now, this continues on saying, despite this, it cannot be ruled out that Microsoft will consider the adoption of an exclusivity strategy on Activision Blizzard games potentially profitable. And this is why I said the first part, because this is exactly what I was saying months ago when this acquisition was first announced. Even if a decision in this regard could result in sacrifice of a relevant part of sales, users and even call of the popularity of Duty, this is because in theory such a strategy would contribute to boost Xbox sales, expand the Game Pass subscriber base, and strengthen the network effects in the Microsoft ecosystem in order to compensate for any loss of revenue from the sale of games in the short term. So what that says is that if you take it off of PlayStation, you lose out on the sales on PlayStation, but the people who love Call of Duty, not all of them are in love with PlayStation. They just got Call of Duty on PlayStation because PlayStation get everything first for Call of Duty. You take that away and they might go somewhere else. You put the game somewhere else and they're gonna go where the game is. You know, I brought up in Lunchtime with Slow-Mo, the last time I did Lunchtime with Slow-Mo, that like when I was a kid, my Final Fantasy was always on Super Nintendo, right? And when they moved to PlayStation, I didn't say, well, I'm never playing Final Fantasy again.
Right.
No, I went and got my PlayStation and played Final Fantasy 7. Because what's important? The platform or the games?
The games.
The games is what's important. And if you are a Call of Duty fan, I don't care what you say. I don't care what these Call of Duty hardcore fans say on PlayStation. To say, if it's only on Xbox, well, I'm just going to get a different... Some of them will. Some of them will be like, well, I'm just going to, play... Like, a lot of them are hyping up... what's the developer of the former Call of Duty guys? What's it's not Fire Sprite.
Oh... Yeah, what is that?
I can't remember. The name of the studio is Deviation Games. They ain't never made a game yet.
Right.
But people are hyped for them because what they are making is going to be similar to Call of Duty and exclusive to PlayStation. And what they're hoping is that it's like Call of Duty of old and it's still on PlayStation. Now, if that's the case, all right. You're going to get a lot of those guys that are just going to stay on PlayStation and forget Call of Duty. But if that's not the case, if it's not good, or if it takes a while for it to come out, and it's not out by the time Call of Duty's off of PlayStation, I don't care what you say, you're going to play COD. And you're going to play COD on a PC. Because they still won't get an Xbox, right? So they'll just play it on PC.
Yeah, this reminds me, like I said, I always go back to this story. Xbox One came out 2013. They had the exclusive rights to Call of Duty marketing for Call of Duty Ghosts that year. And the sales for Call of Duty were just as good as they always been. Xbox was the lead platform for it because they had the DLC come first. And the next year, PlayStation got the rights to it. And all of the content creators and all of the fans that wanted to get the stuff 30 days early, and all of the Call of Duty Championship stuff was all Xbox. Then it got switched over to PlayStation. And the fans did what, Slow-Mo? they all left. Well, not all of them, but a sizable majority of them left and went over to PlayStation. Now, sales wise, if you think about the consoles, Xbox was around 5 million in that first year. PlayStation was around 7 million. When did the gulf happen? When did PlayStation literally take off? Now we're talking about Xbox in 2013 after coming off one of the worst debacles ever in announcing their console. Still sold 5 million that day, the first year out. But what happened after that? Third parties started favoring PlayStation, started getting marketing deals. You saw Kobe Bryant get on the stage at E3 for Xbox when they did 2K. I think it was 2K14. Kobe Bryant was on, because matter of fact, Kobe Bryant was on the cover that year, and he was the one that was on stage at PlayStation's E3. Then you had Call of Duty being showcased at the E3 event. So people that say that, oh, if Call of Duty does this, I'm just going to look forward to this. Like, no, you are a Call of Duty fan, meaning you left to go play Call of Duty somewhere else before, and you're going to do the same thing, especially if you still enjoy the franchise. And I think people are being very disingenuous when they say that unless you just do not partake in the Call of Duty bandwagon stuff anymore, that game people move when those type of games moves. When Madden moves, when NBA moves, when Call of Duty moves, that's when you see massive shifts inside of the platforms and the ones that actually stand out the most. Not saying that PlayStation is going to be outsold by Xbox when this happens, but there is a discernible difference compared to how many people are buying the game on one platform than another platform when you got marketing deals of games this strong. And that's what I think, that it may not benefit Xbox right away, but it will benefit them. And that's the thing that I think a lot of people are just being disingenuous, saying that, oh, it's not going to really matter. And I'm like,
right.
Okay, then we wouldn't be talking about this if it didn't matter.
Right. And to so that people understand completely what we're saying, we're not saying this entire deal is about COD. We understand that King is probably the biggest part of this deal that they are interested in, because hey, mobile, which is, generates far more revenue than the console market or the PC market does. We also have to acknowledge that Blizzard is a big part of this deal too, and the kind of content that they can deliver, as well as all the development teams that Activision has under their belt. I think it's like 9. I think it might be a little bit more than that, but somewhere in that number of developers that they'll be adding. And this is again, I don't think COD will always remain the king of sales forever and ever. Like, that's just not reality. But until it is knocked off, like, it will make sense for Xbox if they're going to spend $70 billion to get this acquisition done and to own all this, you get the most benefit out of it that you can. And what they value more than anything is growth in their subscription service, Game Pass. And what will grow Game Pass more than anything? The
exclusivity.
Exclusivity, and it being, as Phil Spencer said with ZeniMax Media when they did the Bethesda live stream after the deal was finally done. These games will live and exist where Game Pass is.
Yep.
That's what they're about. Like, they forget all the things they say, forget all the like we want to keep the games on. They said the same thing about ZeniMax. We want to keep the games on all platforms. And what happened after the deal was done? They want to keep the game on all the platforms that are benefiting them. And although Sony sees the utmost value in the singular sale of one game at $70, Microsoft doesn't view it that way. That the value of that sale isn't the same to them. They find it more valuable to have a $15 subscription than the $70 one-time sale. And hey, that's the difference of philosophy. We know that for a fact. We've seen it from, former Sony executives like Sean Layden, who feels like it's a failed business strategy. We've seen it from current Sony executives like Jim Ryan, who've spoken on it before and think that that's not a viable way to run your platform. Time will tell who's right. But in the meantime, what we do know is that Microsoft made this acquisition, and we know how they stand with things. And it just makes total sense that eventually that will be the end goal. But the end goal where in due time, when things are right for them, they pretty much said it in their arguments. They were like, we took it off PlayStation today, we would just lose a ton of money.
Right.
But if things were to change, the dynamics would change. If people would start buying the game over on our side, then it might be a possibility. And why they offer 3 years? I think they offer 3 years for multiple reasons. One, they're try to basically hope that Sony would take it and be fine with it, and that they wouldn't fight this the way they fought it, as hard as they fought it. But the other reason is that they know that they're not, if they made it exclusive immediately, they're not going to get as many people playing Call of Duty as the amount of people that played it a year before.
No,
but they would grow so much, as the Brazilian Commission said, they would grow Game Pass. They would grow, they would strengthen their worth, and it could compensate for a lot of that lost revenue, but it wouldn't compensate for all of it. But over time, you get there. But why take that hard hit initially when you could convince people to come to your side? Remember what Jim Ryan said. The last time I say, then you can go ahead. When Jim Ryan was like, "We want the same quality Call of Duty that we were getting before." Remember when he said that?
Yeah, I remember when he said it.
So what else was offered with these 3 years?
Not what he wanted.
Not what he wanted.
Not what he wanted.
It's not what PlayStation gamers are getting right now, which is the beta early, which is maps early. Well, even I don't know if they get that anymore, but like basically any kind of benefits extra early and stuff like that they get over the other platforms of PC and Xbox, and they want that to continue. Of course they do, because those are the reasons why people buy on your platform in the first place. Because before, when it was on Xbox 360, people were buying it primarily over there. So,
right.
My bad.
Yeah.
Go ahead, man.
Oh, you good. The only thing I was gonna say is, like you were going with that. It was the biggest thing people got to realize is not about what's gonna happen today and tomorrow. It's what's gonna happen in years from now. Like this isn't a move for this generation. This is a move for the next generation. This is a move to get people, seated and ready to go when we want to make another Xbox, or when we want to, talk about our next generation plans on what's going to happen. They can include Call of Duty as being something like that. That's when you're saying, well, 3 years from now, what's going to be the biggest difference? Is Game Pass going to be more prevalent? Are they going to be more, the dynamic might have changed a lot to the point where we don't really need PlayStation to, buffer our sales quarter, because that's not what we're going after right now. We don't know what kind of thoughts they're having with that, but I could easily tell you that 3-year buffer will give Xbox the time in order to figure out what's next for them when it comes to Call of Duty. And if they feel like they need to keep it on PlayStation, guess what? They'll keep it on PlayStation, and they'll keep it on there as long as they need to. That's why they're not willing to sign any agreement saying that we'll indefinitely keep something on there, because who knows if we will need you to keep it relative or relevant after a certain amount of time. So that's the biggest takeaway that I have from the whole thing when it comes to these different conversations. But people are just, once again, living in the now instead of thinking about what is this going to be 5 years from now, what's going to happen after Xbox, the 3 years is up. Is Sony going to have a better foothold with their games as a service? Is Sony even going to care if Call of Duty is on their platform after 3 or 4 years? Will they fight to keep it on there? It's a lot of stuff that could change over the course of the next 4 or 5 years.
Agreed. I think we got a pretty lively discussion going on in the chat too, in regards to whether this is good for the industry or not necessarily this deal overall, whether it's good for in the industry. I would say it's this, whether Microsoft acquired ABK or not, this is the movement of the industry, period. If it wasn't going to be them, it was going to be Tencent,
right?
Facebook. Actually, they went to Facebook first, but Facebook is so caught up on VR that they declined. But like, it could have been Apple, it could have been anybody. Like, we're in the industry right now where Netflix, a year ago, Netflix was not a player in the games industry at all, and now they've acquired 4 developers.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the industry where Tencent has made a massive investment in Ubisoft, and we know that Ubisoft has talked to Sony and Microsoft before that happened.
Mm-hmm.
We're in an industry now where Square Enix is getting right. They're getting the gym, they slimming down, they're getting rid of all their dead weight, and they looking to get some investment. They're looking at Sony. That's the way of the industry now. Like, if Microsoft stopped acquiring publishers and developers, publishing and developers aren't going to stop getting acquired.
That's true. That is true.
So it's just this industry's not going to change because Microsoft decided to spend $70 billion to get Activision Blizzard King. It didn't change then. It was already changed. It's not going to stop anytime soon. It's not the death of the industry. Clearly, when like I've said this before about just natural growth of things. Remember when Ubisoft just made single player stealth games?
Mm-hmm. I remember.
And then look at Ubisoft now, this massive publisher with over 20 development teams all over the world, making a lot of the same kind of games over and over and over again. That now that they're trying to get out of that, but that's their reputation.
No, you're
almost
right.
No stealth single player games in sight. Although they are starting to get back to that.
Yeah, slowly but surely.
I bring that up because it shows that there's going to be opportunities for publishers who are still independent to fill in that void that's left by these publishers that get acquired and go exclusive.
True.
You never know what Devolver Digital would be a decade from now. They probably still be making funny E3 shows, but
which are amazing.
Which are amazing, but they might be doing AAA games instead of just AA gems.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what Annapurna Interactive is going to be 5 years from now. You don't know what Bandai Namco is going to be. We don't know any of these things. So it's like it's just we can't predict the industry. Like, oh, well, this is it. You know, everyone's just gonna get acquired and everything's gonna be exclusive.
Right.
That's just not true. Like, I used to think that nobody but BioWare would make the best Western RPGs. Yeah.
Yeah. That BioWare ain't even what you thought it is anymore.
Exactly. Things change. And
yeah, Bunty, we still here, man. You see all those topics Slow-Mo made us talk about today?
Oh man, I just realized how many hours we going?
3.
Oh, it's time to get up out of here. Let's go. It's
I
time
mean,
to
listen, man. We can talk, man. We can talk.
Yeah, I knew it was gonna be long because of all these topics, but good for you and grief. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to do that to y'all. My bad.
No, we appreciate y'all. We appreciate the 43 people still here with us, man. You guys rock out.
Absolutely, freaking. Thank you all for coming through. I did want to shout out our members real quick.
Right.
And oops, that's the wrong tab. Give me a second. Shout out to wait a minute. Oh, okay, come on. Okay, YouTube Studio is not working right.
Well, while you're doing yours, I can do mine real quick.
Okay.
Shout out to the channel members. We got Only on Xbox, Dragonheart Yobi, Texas Lean, Hustle and Motivate, Mike Andy, True Serum, Ham Solo, Texas, I'm a Rich Swag Lord, Ramon Terrell, Hargy Shani, Sir Taz 117, Stardust Acero, Brat, Basement Radio Arcade Podcast, Corey Hale, Cat Daddy Lurk, Erodimus, the homie Slumber Backslap, DJ Oris, and that guy Smitty. You guys power the channels. Really appreciate you. Shout out to the 20 members on the channel, man. You guys are truly amazing, and thanks again for the way that you support us in this way.
Yep. Also on my side, Gaming Forte, Corey Hill, Stardust Acero, that guy Smitty, Sir Taz, Bunty, Homie One Kenobi, Erodimus, Ramon Terrell, Big Mike, True Serum, Ham Solo, Hargy Shani, Texas, Arch War Angel, Enrique, Cat Daddy Lurk, and Dragon Heart Yobi. Thank you guys for always supporting us. We really appreciate it. We love you guys. Sorry we got super long tonight, but it is what it is. It be like that sometimes. You get like a bunch of topics. Forte, let everybody know what you got going on over the next week and where they can find you.
Oh man, got a bunch of stuff going on. Just working on videos for the channel, the Destiny stuff. Working on just overall getting some gameplay for next week so Erodimus can leave me alone. But I promised the man I wouldn't have Destiny content for at least the rest of this year because of all the support he did over there. So I'm gonna be a man of my word and get that up there. But outside of that, man, it's Gaming Forte everywhere: YouTube, Twitter, Xbox Live, and PlayStation. DPS will be on my channel for 105 next week, and it's always a great time being here with you, Slow-Mo. You always do an amazing job, especially on a week like this where there's a lot of stuff to talk about. You always knock it out the park. So other than that, you guys enjoy your week, your weekend, and enjoy the games you're playing.
Absolutely. For me, it is what am I working on? I'm still working on videos. Again, like I said, long form stuff, so they're not quite ready yet. I might do a lunchtime with Slow-Mo tomorrow. It depends on if I have the time. But if not tomorrow, maybe a special stream Saturday. Who knows? We'll see what happens. Look out for content coming on the DPS channel. We've actually been really busy today. Like the DPS channel had 2 uploads today, and we're gonna try to make sure we get them out a little bit sooner than just like on Wednesdays and Thursdays. So like maybe like a couple throughout the week, so that's a little bit more spread out. But look out for that too. And I think that's it. I hope you guys have enjoyed the show. Have a great rest of your night or morning, because it's already past midnight.
Right.
But yeah, enjoy your games and take care of yourselves. Peace.
I'm out here killing it.
Where is the? Oh my god. Okay. I mean, we're gonna leave in this as soon as I get the. All right, here it is.
Eyes of Guardian.
Wipe yourself off, man. You did.
Eyes of Guardian.
Wipe yourself off, man. You did.